Yo, it's finally here. We're finally doing this transfer show. How are we doing, boys?
Good, bro. I feel like it's just annoying because everyone just wants to talk about it. So you know what? Give you crack addicts what you want. Just all the transfers, all the questions, all the speculations. We'll get into it. We'll hear for a little bit. Get your coffee, your soup, your dinner, whatever you're doing, whatever time it is, and soup. You know, it's what it's like late. It's so cold where I'm at, guys. Like it's like minus 25. So I'm like,
Yeah.
any kind of warm fluids is getting in me. But yeah, bro, I'm good. I'm good.
Massive fluid. Okay, cool. Look, there's a lot to get into, but we have to start with Arsenal as always. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of outs, a lot of ins. I think we'll start with the outs because these are confirmed. So Ainsley's gone. Then we're looking at also Mari looking likely he might leave. Cedric might soar off to Atletico Madrid. There's a lot of stuff going on with transfers going out. So
Palma mush. It's 2K. All right, 2K. That's all I've got.
Balogun's gone.
Balogun's gone. Yeah, thank you, TK. Which one do you want to talk first? I think Ainsley.
Yeah, let's talk Ainsley. He's a little bit quicker.
He's a little bit quicker, yeah. So for me, if we're going to talk Ainsley, so I think, look, it was always clear from the summer that there was definitely some issues with Ainsley, and he didn't feel wanted or needed by the club. And like throughout the first half of the season, we were constantly saying, "Oh, this is the game for Ainsley. This is the game we should be getting Ainsley in, and this is the game." And he has played a few games. He played very well against Watford, but if you look at what we're looking at right now, it looks like he was told that, look, we couldn't find a deal for you. We'll try and sort something out in January. I just think that it's probably the best move from it at this point in time. I think linking up with Tammy in a different league, a lot of talents from the Prem have gone to English talents, especially from the Prem to Serie A, like Fiaco Tomori, Tammy Abraham. Different talents have gone there and succeeded. So for me, it's a good opportunity for him. Hopefully he gets some game time. And what's annoying me the most is he looks like he's playing right back. And that's pissing me. Just like, come on, man, you could have played right back for us. But it is what it is. What are we thinking, Ainsley?
I think he's gone to Mourinho, which is probably a big attraction for him. Mourinho was probably looking at that, trying to get as many English players in. I think he had to go because it just got weird at the end because there were times where we needed players and he just didn't play. So he had to go. Roma's a good team for him. They're weird. They started strong, but as Mourinho teams always do, they start to tail off.
They lack the mentality, right, Chris?
Yeah, that's very quick.
Him. You know what he reminds me of, Mourinho? He reminds me of, like, you know, that guy that always pretends to be like a serial monogamist that goes, yeah, man, this girl wasn't good for me. You know, it was on her. She was crazy. And like, you keep having that happen. And then you're like, bro, man, if it's constantly like the other person, maybe you got to have a look at yourself because I don't know, his style, his management, it just doesn't fit in the modern game. I actually think like Ainsley will do really well there just because the league really suits him. I actually don't think he played very well in his first game. You know, people were complaining.
I didn't catch it. How was he?
To be expected. First game, 2 training sessions? But
did he play right back? I didn't watch it.
He played kind of like it was right back, but inverted again, which will annoy everybody because that's what everybody wants to play here. But yeah, I don't know how I feel on Ainsley because on one hand, we 100% could have used him, and if he was going to Roma just to play an inverted right back role, there's no reason he couldn't do that for us. And
none at all.
And it would piss me off because the narrative on Ainsley is completely his decision. It wouldn't be a Mikel decision at that point. And you know, I'm not a fan of like the stuff that he was saying about playing for the best manager in the world. It shows me if that's where you're going to play, mate, and you're not playing in midfield. The only way I would kind of accept you leaving on your own and on your own terms is to play the center mid that, you know, you had claimed you wanted to be. If you're going to go and make sacrifices for a 6 dry month loan at Roma, there was no reason you couldn't have done that here. And by the way, if you had done that here, you would have nailed down a starting position. So It's not the case, and I think it's kind of a case where we just got to close that chapter. You know what I mean? Like, we all know about Ainsley's potential. I think he'll kill it at Roma, no doubt, especially with time in that league. He's going to show very, very well. But if your heart's not in it and you don't fit kind of the culture that we're doing, then I'm happy for you to kind of move on and let's get somebody in that is willing to be here, because it was very clear that Mikel didn't see his long-term future here. It was very evident in so many games where we could have used Ainsley. And when he did play, he played well. Like, it just didn't make sense that he wasn't more involved. So,
especially towards the end where like
yeah,
Xhaka started getting injured and Lokonga had COVID and he still wasn't picked. And that was the weird thing. It was just like he'd be on the bench and you'd see him in the pictures like at the end of games, like coming on the pitch like all the players do. But apart from that, he'd never even sniffed the game towards the end. Like versus Leeds, he didn't play. Versus Sunderland, he didn't even play. So it was just clear to see, especially in those League Cup games and stuff, and games where we're like 4-1 up. He still wasn't used. And it was just clear there had to be an issue there. But I think obviously the league is suited for players like him, like Tomori, like Tammy, these guys with more pace and power to come in and just do very well in the league. So if he can manage to do well and then increase his stock, it'll just be good for him as well as us, because at least let's make money off him if we're not going to play with him. But yeah, for me, it is what it is at this point. We needed the numbers and we may have needed the man in midfield, but
in my opinion, we failed him less about Mikel, and I think he made his decision to leave Arsenal pre-Mikel. Like what he did with Emery and that entire kind of situation and how that evolved and what he was forced to become, kind of put him off the club, I think, in investing anymore. And it became much more of a business decision for him. So for me, it was unfortunate because I love Ainsley. I can't be more high on his potential. And I think most people, I don't know if anyone on the panel disagrees, but like for me, that boy has the tools to be special, but you have to be right in the head to express those tools. And I just don't know if I've seen that from him. I mean, even him at his best and his most focused, there's an air of mental lapse that's involved in his game. You need to find something to drive him. He needs to have a personal battle that he contends with, even in game. Like you see it too. And that's just not Mikel's style, period. Like he's very much a disciplinarian, do your basics. And you know, Ainsley isn't that to his core. So maybe he needs another manager that, you know, is a little bit more willing to accept those inconsistencies.
You know what it is with Mourinho especially? You find Mourinho players, he likes that bite, that sort of, he needs people that need that sort of battle to get the best out of them. He feels like he's always been that kind of guy that he needs people that are, how do I put it, sort of contending with themselves, trying to get the best out of themselves. And if they don't, and if they need a reason to get better, he will basically annoy them into getting better. What I fear with Ainsley, and I want to move on from Ainsley because it's not going to spend an hour on Ainsley, but I just feel like I have always been someone that loves Ainsley ever since the parrot, ever since preseason that when we went to Asia, and it's sad to me that we couldn't make it work, but it is what it is. And a lot of these players that we've let go, that fans cannot move on from, the Guendouzi's, the eventually the Pepe, because he is going to leave eventually. These kinds of players where they just aren't Arsenal players. And it's sad because I like Ainsley, but he's just not at this moment in time what I would consider a player that can thrive at our club at this moment in time. And it is what it is. I want to move on though. There are a lot of rumors in terms of outgoing. So, CK, how about you take Mari and George can take Cedric, and then who else is there? Kolasinac. Yeah,
Kolasinac. Me like one of my remaining agendas.
I know that's why I gave it to you. So Z, you can take Kolasinac, but
take it.
CK, talk to me, bro.
Well, Mari, what is it? A league that suits him, Serie A, slow centre backs, slower strikers. It's probably the best top 5 league in Europe for him. But Serie A or La Liga, Udinese, like 6 month loan. He needs to go for me because he doesn't play. Like he doesn't play. He doesn't even play in the cup games, regardless of the team. He hasn't played since I think at the start of the season, like August, September times. He's not been good, and he won't play as long as our centre backs stay fit. And I hope he doesn't play because it comes with a certain uncertainty that scares me when you see a Mari or a Chambers or someone in defence. I think how am I trying to make this good? He's not good yet, or he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good. He needs to go. And for him, just as well as us, because I think for him, he started well at Arsenal, but then apart from that, he hasn't been good since. So yeah,
there were points where people were saying that he was our best centre back.
Yeah,
they was like, just get Mari a partner.
I don't want to like rag on him too much
learning.
because there was a moment, just factually, for 2 months that he carried our center back crisis.
He did,
and for me,
very well.
If you came into it with the fact that he was a backup, and you knew he was a backup, then calm. I think part of the reason that everyone's so pissed off at him in general is because there was Twitter angst that he was our best center back and some ridiculous claims. But when you look at it as a whole, as a backup center back, he did his job at times. I think the deal was ridiculous though. And I think we're far better served, especially when you start looking at what we have on the books, right? Like, you start adding maybe another overlapping option. Tommy moves into the center back depth quota. You add Saliba, you start having a center back kind of core of Gabriel, Ben White, Saliba, Tomiyasu. That is a serious core. And then you add Daniel Ballard, who, Christina knows from Millwall. Like, he's coming in for the fold. Like, he is definitely good enough. He's more than good enough for the Prem. So you start having him as well. Then as a fifth choice center back, like, guys, I don't know if there's anybody in the league with that level of depth going into next season at center back. So, yeah, for me, that's I'm glad he's
good
going.
for him as well as us. For me, it's good for him.
Yeah. And especially he got a Europe move. I think that was key because, like, if he didn't and he was going to go back to Brazil, I think it meant that there was not a lot of interest in him and we would struggle to get him free because I believe his contract goes to 2024. Someone interject if I'm lying or not making sense. But
you know what it is with these kind of players. I mean, he's represented by Bertolucci, so he's always going to have a club. So we're not really worried about that. It was just about the kind of financial implications that he kind of affected with Arsenal, and that's my only thing where I'm just like, I know it's a dry loan, but I'm hoping for a fact that after that dry loan, he's gone from the club for good, and any financial burden that we've suffered, it's transferred onto someone else. I mean, that's the most important thing.
I think you know what, he's going to be a really Kern. He's just going to be like a really good bookmark for maybe agent fees that maybe we'll get to later on into the into the pod. Because for me, like, Mari's the example of the bad that can happen from agent fees, and there's definitely goods that can happen from agent fees. But for me, Arsenal made a very clear bookmark on last summer about what they were willing to do and what they were willing to extend themselves in. And I think Mari can give you what appears to be a cheap deal, but isn't cheap, right?
So it's Udinese. It's Udinese that's in Serie A that's interested in him.
And Sampdoria, AC Milan and Valencia.
Oh, really? Valencia as well? I didn't hear about Valencia, but yeah. So
I think Udinese got kind of confirmed basically an hour ago, right? So
let's hope that moves forward. But George, Cedric, is he soaring off?
I'm gonna ignore that. Where I hate Cedric. I really dislike Cedric. So anybody that knows me in group chats knows that I've got like two major agendas: Rob Balding and Hector Bellerin. Those were my agendas. And Cedric for me has become a massive agenda. And his performance against City scarred me, gave me aneurysms, and then every time he's continued to play has given me further aneurysms. He in terms of, like, how do I put this nicely? There's not even much analysis that you can do because for me, there isn't something that he offers. There really isn't. Like, people used to say that there's some quality from deep crossing and whatnot, but he's not composed anymore. And in fact, every time he receives the ball, it's a straight pass back He's even worse awareness-wise. He constantly gets attacked. Nottingham Forest, guys, like we're looking through between him and Rob Balding, who was going to be the worst on the pitch. And it was just too much, guys. Like I can't take it anymore. And the idea that, we were even contemplating, keeping him, I think is hogwash. Mikel hates him. If you look at all of the, all of the bench cam stuff, like not only does he coach him through stuff, but, he avidly yells at him consistently. So, yes, I think Cedric is long overdue a leave. He's another one that I think is gone in 2024. So I really hope that we sort that loan to Atletico Madrid. And I actually think it's kind of likely, only because a lot of their alternatives, who they're facing, is a lot of first choice. So I think the big competition is probably Weiss from Valencia, right? And even though he had kind of an altercation with his coach, he's still first choice for Valencia. And so when you're looking at January transfer windows, you really need to know where the buying club is willing to have kind of an alternative, or is he their first choice? For us, Cedric is completely a backup, somebody that we don't need. And so we wouldn't necessarily need to replace him. It would struggle along with Ainsley being gone, though. That would be the only thing that I'm not too sure. But for me, Cedric is just so poor that even playing him is a detriment. So if you really had to play somebody, I would rather we play Brooke Norton-Cuffy. I would rather we take a hit on a youngster playing. If we were forced into the unthinkable with Tommy, I legitimately think playing Cedric is worse than playing a youngster at this point. So for me, I couldn't be more than happy to have Cedric.
He did add I think a thing that he did add is our international numbers, because at a point they were at a massive low, and he kept getting into the Portugal team.
Yeah.
For him, that's gone now with Semedo and Cancelo playing consistently for their clubs. So he needs to find a club that will allow him to get back into international football. I think Spain is best for guys like him, or Spain is better.
Well, Atletico Madrid, it would work wonderfully in the same vein that, Trippier looks pretty decent there as well. Trippier is a lot more athletic than, Cedric, but somebody that relies on a deep block that would just need to be crossing from deep, that wouldn't be asked to build play, defend in a low block, that's fine. But if you ask Cedric to defend a high line or go anywhere near 15 yards up the pitch from the 18, it's over. And who are the alternatives that, Atletico Madrid are looking at? It was Weiss from Valencia. Who else were the other ones that were mentioned?
Weiss, so you're saying Daniel Wass?
Wass, yeah.
Oh my days.
Like a Weiss man. Yeah. But who are the other ones?
There was a couple of others. Let's just put it that way.
There was a couple others, and I believe that Cedric was the only first choice or second choice in there. That's the only thing I remember, because everybody else was, a relative first choice. And I think the Valencia center back again, or right back rather, again, he had an altercation with the coach very recently. That's why I think he was potentially on their radar. But he is a first choice for them, so I don't think that they would be willing.
Mutiele is another one they're looking at. Instead of Cedric and Vass. But yeah, Cedric isn't that good. So
Olivier, I think Brooke Norton-Cuffy is the academy right back who would absolutely be fine. He's physically completely ready. In fact, I would have him in the rotation for next season, period. But I really think that Cedric is it's going to the point where it's not even for him, guys. I think he's lost. It exposes. It's kind of at the Leno scenario, where
very much so.
Where he is legitimately playing against how we want to play. And I think it's even worse than Leno, if I'm really being honest, because at least Leno has some redeemable qualities in shot stopping. There's areas to his position that he is good at. I don't think Cedric has anything that's redeemable. And at this age, he's got 2 more years left. I really want him to leave in the same Pablo Mari mold, where hopefully he leaves, he plays, someone's dumb enough to say, I'll take a punt, and we can get these guys off the books, because it's, again, seemingly cheap deals that have turned very expensive. Right. I think, to be fair, in Cedric's case, it's probably a lot less expensive. Z, you'll have to confirm, than Mari. I think Mari was a special deal.
That was definitely a special deal.
but Cedric is, I think, on something like 75K. So not great, but not horrendous. But still, horrid player. we need to move on, and we can move on. So we should.
So I think we should move on from Cedric in goal. So
Yes,
Z,
please.
Kolasinac.
Yeah, man. Look, oh God, I mean, we should have got rid of Kolasinac ages ago. But look, he's still at the club. I feel like he's been used by Arteta as the guy to actually prove a point to the board for quite a few transfer windows. I mean, I think just about is it a year ago and a bit where he was sent to Schalke, and Mustafi followed. And that to me, was showing to the board like we don't want these kind of deadwood. And then a few months later, he came back to Arsenal, and he was starting in our big games, especially the one against Manchester City. Again, that was a huge shout out to the board. Look, we need some freaking players. And then the other week against Nottingham Forest, he came on apparently to play central midfield. Again, that's a shout out to the board that look, we need some freaking players. I feel like so he's just been used and abused to be that frontline man to shout out to the board. But look, I think he's never been good enough for Arsenal, and he's had quite a few offers to leave in the last few windows as well, especially by Leverkusen. Apparently, he wants to go back to Germany, but that's not happening this
Marseille,
window.
isn't it?
Yeah, this window there's an offer from Marseille. There's an offer from Watford as well. So good luck to him. I think he's not going to be here past January. That's for sure. I feel like
I don't think he goes Watford because they got a left back, even though he's like 5'6".
We probably have to do it by mutual consent too, lads. Like I know he's wanted to go to Germany, but Z, correct me if I'm wrong, but it absolutely was scuppered because of his wage demands in the end.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't willing to lower them.
He was going to go to Leverkusen.
Yeah, he was going to go to Leverkusen. I think he had a medical there as well and all of that stuff. But his wages thing is always going to be an issue for us.
Because they're on I don't know, isn't he on 120 or 110? It's one of them.
110.
I think it's 110.
Yeah,
I think
so.
I'm pretty sure.
Madness. So I think we'll have to do a mutual termination, at least the last one. I'm hoping the Mari and Cedric deals. In my head, those also will have to be future mutual termination deals.
They will all have to be. That's for sure.
But I'm hoping Mari at least has the chance to play to earn a transfer. And
I don't think Cedric will be mutual termination. I think Cedric might. If he's going to Atletico, there will be some team dumb enough to take a punt on him.
Kolasinac, I don't think will have to be mutual termination.
Kolasinac is the one for me.
Doesn't his contract end this year?
Kolasinac, it does. But for
so
him
he's
to leave, Marseille won't pay his wages. So we're probably just going to say, like, let's terminate it and you have him, essentially.
Tony just quickly asked already. Tommy becomes our fourth centre back. I'm pretty sure Tommy. Is anyone in disagreement with that?
Wait, this season?
No,
because Tony's asking who becomes our.
Oh no, Chambers is still here.
Chambers,
yeah, but
Chambers won't leave too.
No, Chambers won't leave. So yeah, no, that's a good point. We have probably 5 centre backs just on the books right now. So
I was saying this in a group chat where when you really think about it, we actually have almost 3 center backs coming in, or in my mind, next season, and that's
Correct.
Tommy, Daniel Ballard, William Saliba. And that is the biggest upgrade when you think about trying to hopefully get out Mari, Chambers, and Rob Balding. Imagine those 3 for those 3. That's probably the biggest glow up. Maybe somebody in the comments, please tell me of a better glow up.
I'm sure we have Omar Rekik as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I think he's not quite ready, but he's got experience, mate. Like he's an international.
I think he'll be on loan next season, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we're trying to find a loan for him. But
we are, yeah. We are.
In terms of game prediction, we are doing a game prediction to be at the end. It's going to be a long one, lads. So get tucked in. We're 25 minutes in. We haven't even talked about Dusan Vlahovic yet. So I think we should move on to that, shouldn't we?
Well, 1 second, Kern. The one thing that I wanted to say for people is, we have 5 people that are off of contract. I don't know if people know. So from a wage concern too. And people are concerned about wages. For Vlahovic, I think it's a good transition for any ins that we do from now until the end of the summer. Just like last year, without Arsenal doing a single thing, guys, we have over 400K, a week off the wage bill from doing nothing between Lacazette, Elneny, Kolasinac, Chambers, and Nketiah, who are all frees by the time of the summer. You have 400K there off the books. You start adding Torreira in a deal for Vlahovic without doing a single thing. Arsenal have cleared over 450K a week off the wage bill. I don't think people are realizing how significant that is. That isn't including any sales. That's Arsenal doing zilch. You're clearing that off the wage bill in addition to what we did last year, which absolutely helped our wage bill deficit. So I think people saying that, we need to have concerns on the wage bill. And I mean, I think there's work to do. Maybe you could confirm, mate, but like we're getting to the point where that turnover is over the hump. We don't have a wage bill concern. We've done a lot of the work.
We don't because look, we actually cleared out 600K worth of wages last window, and that to me is enough because the thing is the players that we signed, they went on high wage bills anyways. So we've probably took about 300K worth of that. 300K worth of the 600K that we freed up on, and next summer when we have a lot more, when we release some of the players and sell some of the players, our wage bill is going to be a lot less than it usually is, and that kind of gives us the room to, go buy that big player and offer him that 200 to 300K wage. For me, that's not a problem anymore, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I don't understand people. Look, as long as it doesn't break our structure where we're talking about 500, like Pogba, we clearly know. Like, look, Aubameyang doesn't earn this. We all know he's on a base 250, but it goes up to 350, right? And we'll definitely have that financial literacy pod because I think it's needed. When we talk about these things, but when we talk about wages, the upper cap of our wages at a base level is 250. So for me, anything that's below that is totally feasible in terms of what we're willing to do. And that covers most players in the world. There really isn't players in the world that go for larger than 300 unless you're your Haalands and your Mbappes, your Neymars, your stupidity at United where you put De Gea on that. That is the situations that you're talking. But from a point of a Vlahovic, anybody that we're bringing in, even if you're really crazy enough to think about Dembele on a free, which I keep telling people to think about, that's probably 200K a week expense. And that covers many, many people's ideas of a wage concern. So for me, there's a lot of money that's being freed. In the last year, we've freed almost $1 million a week off the wage bill. That isn't insignificant. It shows how badly we were run, but it isn't insignificant. And I think it really should change a lot of people's idea, about concerns about players. But yeah. That's all I wanted to say. Before sales, we've cleared again 450K a week off the wage bill, which is madness.
You are right, is a good transition into Dusan Vlahovic of Fiorentina. I'm just gonna quickly go over what's being reported. So what's been reported is a mental madness. It's just we don't know. Is agents not being picking up calls? There's agent fees of £18 million. There's wages of 300K a week, pre-tax, post-tax. What the hell does it all mean? It's a massive mess. And it feels like we have really, really pushed for this. Fabrizio Romano has tried his best to scupper any of the hopes of the Arsenal fan base, but it looks like it's going ahead with or without him. In terms of the player itself, I think what a lot of fans have been crying out for this season is that we aren't putting away chances. We're underperforming XG. We're looking like we're not putting away high quality chances like Aubameyang versus Newcastle, or just take any number of games where we've not finished chances. And what Vlahovic will give you is a penalty box monster who is very good at tucking away high XG chances. And that's the kind of player you do want. My concern is I feel like for the money we're offering him we'll have to do this. So it looks like we're looking at a 250 base wage with bonuses rising to 300,000 pre-tax, which will then equate to about 160K a week post-tax. We're paying him 300K, or 200K rising to 300K. That's the. I don't understand why. This is basically like the Ben White versus Varane.
If you consider Aubameyang on 350K a week, we're paying Dusan 300. if you consider
Yes.
the base wage of him at 250, we are probably paying him 200K a week. Is that a fair interpretation?
Yeah, but look, I don't understand the inconsistency of the way of the reports. For example, with the Vlahovic deal, I know it's 160K reported, but I think Corin is right. It's a 250K base. But again, I don't understand why they need to report in that way to kind of, I don't know, take
Inflate it.
inflate, and to be fair, you just take the piss out of the fans really, because now it just creates a little argument between the fan base for no apparent reason. If we were going to look at the base salary for many of our
Let's put it
players,
this way.
it's a lot.
Mm.
This is the other thing. People are saying it's now 62K as well, which again
It
makes no sense. Like the way, in my opinion, I'm not saying this is fact. We don't know what the final figures are, but in my opinion, it's looking like a base wage of about 200 to 250,000 that can rise to 300,000. That's what we'll be paying him, and then when you take away taxes, the player will get 160K. So it's interesting.
Do you know how I always remove this argument in general? And I think most people can agree. I think everyone thinks that, look, papers don't give you the exact figures. We know this, but logically, given the transfer fee, the agents involved, the boy is going to be on serious money, right? In all, what you probably are looking at is basically an Eddie Nketiah and Lacazette wage off the bill, Dusan Vlahovic in for a net zero. That's how I look at it. So I don't even worry about the wages, because in my mind, that's the same as Eddie Nketiah and Lacazette. Their combined wages is likely what Dusan's going to be on a per week basis for a net zero. So for me, the wages aren't the issue. I think the big thing is going to be is probably the agent fees. That's what I'm most concerned about, and I think that's probably where most of this conversation should go to, because even as a transfer fee, guys, we're probably looking at 45 million or 46 million pounds plus Lucas Torreira for a package that equals 58 million pounds or 75 million euros. That's what you're looking at.
Before we get into agent fees, there is a concern. My eyes, I think it's a fair concern, but I want to know what you guys think about it. So for me, I'm with George on this. I don't think, in terms of what we have available, I don't think it's concern. My concern is the wage structure. And we're looking at Bukayo getting a new deal soon, hopefully. We're looking at eventually Emil and Nelly and all these other guys will be getting new deals soon. And the question I have for you guys is, how do you think a wage of a new player coming in at 21 years old of 200 to 250K a week, how do you think that will impact the structure of contracts going forward?
I think we've already set the precedent for that. For example, in the way we've actually offered the contract for Aubameyang, he's not on 350K a week. He's on 250K a week, which is actually quite minimal compared to how much we've paid our players previously. But the fact is that 350K package is made out of appearances, is made out of goal bonuses, and whatnot. But that to me shows that we have a kind of structure where this is how much we're going to have a base figure for every player, and we're going to add it, we're going to top it up based on how you do and based on what we think you're worth. And I feel like this is the only way to go, because we can't just go out and pay a Dusan 400K or 300K, because again, like you said, when it comes to negotiations with Saka in the future, who again is on one of the lowest wages in the club at this moment of time, it's going to be hectic if we just break our structure. So I feel like we have to follow the way we dealt with Aubameyang, and I think we will do. And then look, we'll see whatever happens in the future. But I feel like for now, it's nothing for us to worry. We've cleared our wage bill quite a lot.
And it's why I think, for me, it's a really simple money in and out exercise here. I think the concerns about what it does for Saka in the future, I think, is more agent fee related, I'll be honest with you, than wages. Because for me, Saka deserves the highest wage bracket of our club, period. Whether that was Vlahovic coming in, whoever was coming in my mind, the Saka extension was going to put him on parity with Aubameyang, period. And if we didn't, that was Arsenal being very stingy and stupid. Because for me, he's very clearly our best player. So he should have been put on that kind of parity. I don't think in his last contract, because it was still kind of technically his first youth out of youth contract. So it made sense to be this low. But once we gave what we gave ESR, very, very clear that, you know, Saka's package was going to be much, much higher. So I think, like, from a perspective of just pure wages, though, the fact that it equals essentially Nketiah and Lacazette out makes sense to me. Like, those two strikers are gone. You give that wage to the new striker that you're buying. Everyone knows I wasn't a big fan of a striker purchase, period. I didn't think it was really the goal for me. But at the end of the day, we are where we are. The link is with Vlahovic, and we'll definitely talk about his profile because I much prefer this stuff than the stupid wage arguments. But for me, I think the agent fee is a point of concern because, you know, I'm not really worried about wages. We're pretty good about coordinating that. What I am worried about is succumbing to 15 million pounds of wages, which we don't know if that's accurate, but succumbing to a high agent fee is really worrying for the future because we know Saka's agent isn't very, you know, comfortable, let's say, with that. You know, he's very odd. You know, he'll do a big number. You know, I think it just opens the door to that Kia route once again. And it's not Kia specifically, but it's men like Kia that if they find out Arsenal are willing to pay this amount of money
is my favorite one.
to an agent, a Raiola, you know, it opens the doors, Mendes. It opens the doors to those type of agents thinking Arsenal are in this big pool again. Let's have at it. And for me, it opens a very big Pandora's box. So I really want to be careful on that aspect of the deal. But for me, the wages aren't a concern because we have Nketiah and Lacazette out. So you have a net zero for me.
The other thing is the one thing is with all these agents and the agent fees, my issue is dressing room dynamics, and it's not even just financial. For me, if you look at for example, Paul Pogba at Man United, you look at the way his comments have upset, Raiola's comments have upset people in the dressing room. I just think that it's a risk. It's a massive risk to let these hounds in your living room. That's the main thing I see that's a bit like I don't really, and the amount of kicking and dragging these agents have done, I don't see them being sort of like cool when we get if and when we do get him. I don't see them just being like, okay, chill. So I don't know. Z, sorry, you were saying something. So
no, I mean, look, I was just going to say, look, I know we're kind of putting importance into this whole agent fees that, you know, apparently Dusan's kind of agent is asking for. But the thing is, obviously, last season it was reported that we did actually pay any money to agents, but obviously we dealt with intermediaries, so we must have paid something to someone to get the deals done. So there's no two ways about that. But the fact of the matter is, with this whole Dusan deal, the narrative kind of on the news, it's basically that it's Dusan's agent's permission, and if it doesn't go by Dusan's agent, this deal is not happening. Dusan would not come to Arsenal. But I don't think it's that. I don't think that's the case. I think Dusan has to take ownership of his career first of all, and I've seen some close reports from I don't know, I think it was a Croatian news. I can't remember exactly where it was, where it kind of said that the Dusan's actually kind of like given up on his agent. So
it was a Croatian news network.
So so it kind of goes to show that, you know, maybe we're not going to have to pay that £15 million agent fee. And I don't think Arsenal are that stupid to pay that much in agent fees. I'm sure that they can, you know, bring that down to like a respectable figure regardless. But again, I will say this: they've met every single requirement that's needed to sign the player. So where we are now, we're basically at a point where we're saying, look, Dusan, we've offered the club exactly what they want. We're offering you whatever you want. We're offering any other kind of intermediaries, agents, whatever they want, to a respectable level. That's it. Now make your decision if you want to come to us or not. That's where we are, and I don't think we should, you know, we should override what Arsenal are thinking. I feel like they're probably making the most sensible decision they've ever made, which is trying to invest in getting top four now.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying this kind of off air, right? See, like, I mean, it's very much a bet on top four in terms of the club's kind of perspective. But I think it does change us to what you were saying before, like a mini Chelsea in an aspect of I've never seen us go this aggressive and this loud and proud with the money. Even in our biggest kind of transfers, when you look at, you know, Nicolas Pepe as just a reference for the biggest transfer fee right? We weren't moving like this. It wasn't vocal. It wasn't public about how aggressive and bullish that we were being. We've always had money, but we've never flaunted it, right? And it seems like there's a very big push that we're doing that now. And look, some people love that. I'll be honest, I hate that. I'm not a fan of doing those kind of things. I'm not a fan of doing that kind of business. But at the end of the day, it does open a lot of people's concerns about your dream scenarios, like your Declan Rice's, your other things. If we're willing to do this for Dusan Vlahovic in January, it means that this summer is going to be a madness, especially if we get Champions League. It means that the club are willing to play with the big boys and be in those shark pools. Which for me, I love the ambition. I think it comes with its own cons. I do, but I think it's a very clear, different kind of change in the strategy. I think you're opening those.
Player, though? Can we talk about the player? I think we should talk about the player though, because as I think a lot of people are going asking for what we think of the player. And I think out of all of us, am I wrong in saying I've watched him the most? Am I wrong here? Or
for Vlahovic?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I watched him. It was very decent.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will just say this. I feel like people are overrating his link-up ability a little bit. I feel like he's very much a dink and drop behind. He's not someone like if you remember the Giroud times when he would just sort of take it down and just pass it off. He's not someone that's sort of going to drop in and link play from like a Lacazette or something. So he's someone that has his move and is very good at it, and he has the ability to move off ball very well. And the main thing for me, and I know we all think this because we've discussed it off air, is he is an insane ball striker. Like he puts his entire.
He's the best ball striker on the market. Period. That is his superpower. Without
he is, and people say about. He's scoring. His percentage of non-penalty goals is just not good enough. You have to put away penalties. Like I thought we should have learned that this season. Like we've missed so many penalties. You'd think we'd want someone that's really good at penalties, but I'm happy with him. But I'm not like elated. Like I'm very happy with this deal in terms of the player, and I'm happy in terms of what he could bring to the team, and the fact that it is really a move that, in my opinion, secures top 4. But I just feel like there's more value for money on the market, and players that could fit better in. Is that fair assessment?
Corin, I totally agree with you, and I just wanted to just to know, like, Vlahovic wasn't my first choice, by the way. I don't know about you guys, but no. he definitely wasn't my first choice. But the thing is it just shows where Arsenal are at the moment, where they're very adamant on who they want, and that to me shows more promise than anything. Because previously they were like, okay, if we don't get this player, we'll just get someone else that kind of is a makeshift, almost similar to him. But look, they know what they want, and they'll pay whatever it takes to get him. So that to me shows a bit more promise, because there is a plan for that specific player. But for sure, he wasn't my first choice. Everybody knows I wanted Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I feel like he was more ready suited to the league. I know you wanted Guri. How do you say his name? Guri. So yeah. But I don't know, man. What about you, George? Like, was he your first choice or?
No. He wasn't, but just on the player, because I like talking about player traits. What he is, for people that don't know him, is he's 2014 Harry Kane, whose link play is a lot more the dink layoff, 1 or 2 touch before he bursts into space. He's not going to be somebody that pins center backs. He uses his body very, very smart, kind of in and around the box, but he needs a lot more work pinning center backs. In fact, in the last year, he went through a major physical transformation. He wasn't like this a year ago. He was actually quite lanky, and he put on a lot of muscle weight very, very quickly. And I don't think he's learned how to throw around his weight a lot. And there's going to be a lot of misconceptions because people see 6'3" Dusan Vlahovic, and I've seen the Giroud comparisons. I think they're not right. He isn't a target man, and he isn't that right now. He's going to be somebody that struggles with aerial ability. He has really good purchase and direction on his headers. He has a very good leap, but in terms of his actual heading ability, he doesn't dominate aerial duels. And, he isn't going to be somebody, if you're looking for an Aaron Ramsdale out ball that he's going to control and constantly do, that's not him. He won't do that. But he can learn again, and he's only 21. He's younger than Eddie Nketiah. I think he'll develop into that.
I love that. I love that so much.
He'll develop into that player that will be able to do it. He'll learn to throw his body around, but you're not getting that at this moment in time. And, his big thing, his ball striking is clear. It's the best ball striker on the market, period. We're signing a very hyper clinical striker. We're signing somebody that has excellent first touch. The next best trait after is his first touch. It's why he's able to come deep and have that 1-2 touch dink play, very much like a 2014 Harry Kane. But what he doesn't have is that, if you guys remember, that 2014 Harry Kane didn't have the playmaking. He didn't have, the passing. Dusan Vlahovic isn't a passer. He's not going to come deep, turn, face between the lines, and dribble. That is not his style. He's going to come deep. He'll maybe dink 1 or 2 touches. If he does receive deep, he's a very good carrier, but a very poor dribbler. So what I mean by that is he's not somebody that's going to go in and out with very tight feet, but he's a very good carrier of the ball long distances. He's very vertical. You're going to see him burst through the channels, very, very serious. And I think in terms of some other things is his movement. That's the next best thing. So outside ball striking and first touch, his movement, both in the box, outside the box, is phenomenal. He constantly scans that back line, and he's constantly available looking for openings. And so he's very, very good at that. I can see him thriving at Arsenal. He's not my first choice. I think I was talking about this with Christina too, where I was like, Mikel will turn him into a monster, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because, for me, he's not somebody that's going to be this kind of article right now. But at 21, a lot of this stuff is very easily fixed. They're probably the biggest thing that we're going to see, though, is he needs to work on his weak foot. When he does come deep, a lot of players, people are thinking in terms of his kind of positioning, what does he do? When he comes deep, he actually comes to the right half space. I'm worried for Martin Odegaard here. Because when we did talk about, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we talked about those other players, Alexander Isak, when they came deep in the left half space primarily. Dusan Vlahovic doesn't do that. He comes deep in the right half space, and all of his passes are to the left. So Kieran Tierney and Martinelli will absolutely love him in that aspect. But, he does cloud that space. Somebody that's going to love it is going to be ESR. And since he has trouble gaining control of the ball from kind of a goal kick and stuff like that, he's more somebody that comes in deep to kind of dink and link. I think Emile Smith-Rowe will really thrive with somebody like him because he can receive in those areas. He'll come, dink, do 1 or 2 touches, and then burst into space. He's a penalty box killer. That's something that we don't have. And, Curran, you made good point to mention the penalties because dead ball situations, he adds massive stuff for us. Massive. So I think there's lots to like. Absolutely. No doubt about that. But is he worth the money? No, not now. Absolutely not. Will he be worth the money? Yes.
100%.
I think he'll do very well, but I don't think he's going to be the starting Champions League striker for us down the future. I think he develops into an excellent plan B, a very lethal plan B. But people thinking that he works with 2 inside forwards, that's not the case, and especially not now. He's absolutely much more a mover, and people will be confused. But if you're comparing him to our 2 strikers, it's much better to compare him to Aubameyang versus Lacazette. He won't do the Lacazette things. No. And another thing that's really interesting is the pressing. Now, Fiorentina are a high-press team, but Dusan Vlahovic doesn't press, and he gets dispossessed a lot. If you start looking at the stats, he's not somebody that's going to be secure in possession like that. That's just not something that he does. And so for his press, some of that could be system related. He's not the first trigger. There is another trigger in the front line, but he doesn't press. His first instinct is not to press. So if you're expecting those kind of things, you're just not going to get it. So for me, I rate the potential of the signing a lot more than what he is. He's going to come in here. He's going to be a very good ball striker. He'll probably score a ton of goals, and he will secure top 4 for me. Those are all true. But the fact that, he is going to be poor at aerial abilities, that's true. He's going to have a poor weak foot. That's also true. He has to work on coming deep, turning to face play. and passing or dribbling out in the Isaac, the Ivan Toney molds. If you're expecting something like that, he doesn't do that. So yeah, it's a tough one because I think there's a lot of faults to it. But he is a good player, no doubt. So a lot of the things that people might say, is he good or is he not? He's a very, very good player, no doubt. But there's flaws there, for sure.
See, I wanna ask CK a couple of things. So one, big man, do you think he's gonna adapt to the Premier League well? And two, how long do you see him staying with us? Do you see him staying us for the entirety of his contract? Do you see him maybe going 2 or 3 years and then just pass him on for a profit? What do you feel like the policy is going to be with us?
So, what was the first question?
I said, how is he going to adapt to the Premier League, man?
I think he'll do well. The ball striking, anywhere you go with that ball striking, you're going to do well, or you're going to do enough to be rated so that people aren't constantly calling for him to be sold. He already comes in and becomes one of the best ball strikers in the Prem. He's very good on free kicks. I think that's what he has over that 2014 Harry Kane reference, because he tried to take free kicks at tournaments and stuff, and he was awful. But yeah, Vlahovic, he's a good player. For me, I don't think he'll ever resonate with me because he's slow. So, and even when he makes those bursts into space,
he's good over long distances, though. I have to give him that. Like, he has horrible acceleration, but over longer distances, he's very good.
Yeah, I just think it's the build for me. Like, obviously, I think as he grows, he'll learn to use his build more effectively. Because right now, I see him like go to the floor very easily for someone that size. So he doesn't really know how to use his body yet properly. Even in the box, even though he's better at it with his like first touch and ability to control, he's a good player. Like, I'm not gonna say he's a bad player. I just think there was better use for money. I think how long will he stay? I really don't know. Like, maybe I think minimum 2-3 years minimum he'll stay at the club. I think.
Do you think you'll see out his deal?
Maybe even get a renewal.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. I think he will do very well, but not do very well in certain things people are expecting from him. Like the link up and the passing, which I hear a lot of people prop, which I think is probably one of his worst aspects. Because for me, like, it's like,
yeah,
whenever anyone asks me about him, like, the first thing anybody that talks about him should talk about is his ball striking.
They just see size. I don't think they watch him. They see size.
Yeah, for me,
like, link
if
up.
anybody ever asks me about him, the first thing I have to talk about is the ball striking, because that's by far and away his best trait. But when someone brings up like his passing and stuff like that, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It needs improvement, and it will come. And sadly and positively, Arteta will make him a very, very, very serious striker, and it will benefit us.
It will. It will.
It will benefit us as a club to have him up top. But I just didn't want this. I don't know how much it's going to be. Whatever it's going to be, 45, 60. 75, all these different numbers that keep coming out day in, day out. Whatever it is, I think eventually he'll make the money back for us. But is he worth that now? No. But will he be worth it? I think so.
Well, for sure. And when you look at it, like, who's going to benefit the most from this kind of deal? Bukayo Saka, because when he does come deep, he loves those 1-2 touch kind of combinations. He'll love to play with somebody like that.
The cutbacks as well. I think the cutbacks is a major thing.
I was just going to say, my biggest thing was Kieran Tierney. He's going to absolutely love him. A lot of those iffy chances that we do on cutbacks won't happen. He's going to put them all away.
Yeah.
He'll be very, very good at that. And so, yeah, I think he's going to be very good. But if people are expecting a Lacazette, you're not getting that.
No, I don't want that. I just want to say I don't want.
And by the way, we didn't want that. So Daniel, no, I don't want that.
If anyone knows,
I have the biggest Lacazette agenda here. I don't want that. I'm just trying to help you guys understand. That's not who he is. Because a lot of people have this weird misconception that he's Lacazette, or he's Giroud, or he's this target man. It's not. That's
No.
not what you're getting with him right
You're
now.
getting a ball striker.
Yeah.
I just want we have to make a caveat here because Yo's made a good point. That nothing is ever certain.
Oh, trust me, I'm not. I'm just
Nothing
speaking.
is ever certain.
I'm speaking
okay?
on it because
We're just talking about
we are
profile.
talking
Yeah.
about if it happens. I don't
Yeah.
know. Look, transfers. I mean,
You know what?
I don't know,
Lads, why don't we do this on each one, because we're going to get this question a lot. We're just talking on profile, but how about at the end we'll wrap up each segment on likelihood, just to give you guys your fix about that, because we're not saying it's done. I don't know if it's done. I don't care if it's done, but just purely on the player, we're just discussing his pros and cons football-wise.
The only thing I'm going to say is the best example I could think of, Yann Villa. The perfect example.
Yep.
That is literally the perfect example. Transfers can fall apart at any point in time. Any point in time. So
Willian, what about Willian to
Willian,
Spurs?
That was the worst
Willian
one because he had a
Spurs,
medical.
He was in their facility.
Like we can go for days on this. There's so many transfers. Bloody Odemwingie. Turning up.
But honestly, mate, like I find that boring. I don't know if people in the chat love that stuff, but the feasibility police, I don't know. We can maybe do it as a quick aside at the end, but just to take it back to the player and who Vlahovic in, I think it really should indicate some tactical changes, guys. Like I want to know if you guys agree or disagree, because you're not getting that Lacazette replacement.
No.
We're going to change how we play.
Correct.
Which I've always said we were. And in fact, the crazy thing is a lot of people are like, but George, you know, I thought you said that you don't like Dusan. And I'm like, I compared him to a baby Harry Kane. I'm like, I don't know what kind of, you know, where it got lost in translation that, you know, I don't like him. That's pretty high praise. But one thing that I do know it says is that we're changing the way that we play. And this idea that we're definitely playing the Lacazette, the 2, which I've always said is a Band-Aid, is not going to happen because he won't do those things that Lacazette does. We won't see that kind of press from him. We're going to change how we play, which is fine to me. And in fact, Dusan Vlahovic actually supports pivot plays or front threes that, you know, are a little bit more playmaking behind, because he's not somebody that'll do that. So you need to pair him with somebody that does do those things. So
even though he thinks he can.
Yes. But he just can't do those.
There is one that we did forget, and we'll do closing remarks on Dusan, but I do want to cover Balogun's loan because we did forget about it. But yeah, anyone can go for some final comments.
No, let's do the feasibility, because people think we're going to do politically correct. No, like don't worry. Like Poncho, like I'll tell you if I think it's going to happen. I have no problem with that, but I just wanted to make sure the profile. I think it's boring. That's why I save it for the end here. So basically, for me, I think it happens. I think it's basically 9 out of 10. But the reason I think that is just because David Ornstein and Sami Mokbel, you know, the amount of noise that we've done around it, I think it's as good as done. I'll be honest with you. And I don't think David Ornstein gets put on topics if it's not serious.
No.
Like even Madison, when everyone was screaming James Madison, you know, David Ornstein didn't say a word on that. So, yeah, for me, for sure, the issues I have again with it, he's going to repay it in time. But people have a very warped impression about what kind of player that we're getting. And I hope that this kind of evaluation helped people get a better idea, because you're not getting a target man. You're not getting a Giroud. You're not getting that. You're getting 2014 Harry Kane without the playmaking. And that is a very good player, by the way. But it is somebody that isn't going to come and link play. He's hyper efficient, elite ball striker, but he's going to work best with a lot more creative front line. He's not going to work with your Lacazette that works with outlets. If you see Martinelli as a left winger, it's not great for him. You know, he needs somebody that's going to, he'll work best with maybe, say, an Emile Smith-Rowe at left wing. He'll work best with somebody that can come ball to feet, because he's not great at it right now. He himself is somebody that dinks and runs into space. So, I mean, yeah, it's a tough one. I think he'll make his money back. And I think it happens. And I think he gets us a lot of goals, and he gets us top 4, and a lot of people love him.
Yep.
But, yeah. So,
do you think it happens?
Well, quickly, I hope that if he does come, that he doesn't get like hit with the downfalls of what his expectations were with his passing and all that stuff. because I don't think it will match up to expectation, but his ball striking will probably exceed expectation. Do I think it happens? No. I'm going to say no. If it does happen, it is what it is. He'll score goals. He'll probably score.
Are we going to add this to the prediction? Can this be a little transfer?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's more volatility in transfer than a match. But yeah, I think if he does happen, then minimum 10 league goals in what? We have 20 games left. No, 18 games left.
Yeah, 10 goals is what I would say as well.
I think he gets in the Prem, you're saying, though?
In the Premier.
Yeah,
well, there's no other games. What other games is there?
Pretty
Carabao
much
Cup final.
Yeah, that's true.
18 games left. 18.
I think he gets something like 12 to 15. He has such good ball striking. I can just see him, and it's gonna warp a lot of what people want as well. Like, he's gonna score goals. This guy's gonna score a lot of goals.
I think he'll get like minimum 10. So I think obviously he'll score goals and score important goals.
I think 10 to 12 is what I said before, and that's what I'm going to stick to.
Well, he just adds a different threat to what we have up top, to be honest, because aerially he's probably better than Laka and Aubameyang, and ball striking he's better than both of them. Laka probably at 27 could match him, but now he can't.
It's not only the power, he's very, very good at hitting the corners. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. He's not
just
someone,
his technique, mate.
He's very good technique.
And what he hit, he kind of side foots it.
Side foots. He doesn't put his foot through.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting, and that's honestly why I see Harry Kane. It's scary, the comparisons there. He is more mobile, but Harry Kane was way more playmaking. Way more, and he had a far better creative.
He has a lot of. He has a leap.
Nashville, no. Martinelli is far better in the air.
Martinelli, it's not even a competition. Martinelli just.
But that's one of Martinelli's elite traits. Like, I don't think it's fair to compare him. Like, Martinelli is one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like the thing is, I feel like people have just seen. This is another thing I feel people have done. People have just seen the size of his neck and be like, "Oh, he's great in the air." No, he's good. He could be a lot better. I feel like he has what I would call a good leap, but I don't really see him being that sort of like in the air monster, Ivan Toney sort of, I'm going to dominate you. He's not that guy. He's never going to be that guy. He's got ability, but it's just
this is how I can wrap it. He's good. I've raised praise for him, but for 40 or 45 million pounds, my pick was Ivan Toney. I always said I didn't want a striker, but if you forced me, George, you're getting a striker. Whatever you want. I've always said I want to keep it at the 40 million pound mark, because for me, any kind of purchase above that price is a marquee price. And for me, that raises expectations. That means you have to be top 3 in the league in your position. That means you have to be with the team for at least 8 years. And it means you have to be versatile to any position. And not many people fit that description. So for me, I would have been a much stronger proponent of replacing the experience that's leaving with experience. But also somebody that, is a little bit more of what we have in this sense of a pressing 40 million pound, who's the best bang for your buck, probably Toney. I think Vlahovic will be a lot more deadly than Toney, but he won't be as complete. And you are buying for the future. You're buying for the Vlahovic that you're getting 2 years from now. You're not buying the current Vlahovic. You're buying like the Vlahovic with Champions League experience under his belt, and that's what you're buying, which is fine, and it's all that, but just understand and expect kind of the faults and where we might have to learn with him, because you are going to have to learn with him.
Z, final thoughts on Vlahovic?
Yeah, I mean, I already said earlier on the video. I mean, it's pretty much a standstill where we've basically offered them everything they want, and now it's just based on the player. If he wants to come, like he comes. Like he can come tomorrow for all we know, really. But overall as a player, like I said, he wasn't my first choice. I mean, I had my first choice in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You guys have named yours, but the main thing is, for me, it feels like obviously we know how good Vlahovic can be, but I think we're paying for his potential, and I think his potential is really really high. When I first watched him, I said it in a group chat somewhere. I was like, he just reminds me of Giroud. For some reason, I just said it just reminds me of Giroud. Maybe probably a better version of Giroud, but he just reminded me of Giroud. And we can all remember when Giroud signed for Arsenal, he wasn't the greatest at heading either. Like, he used to miss time headers all left, right, center. So maybe it's a work in progress, something that we'll work with. But overall, like I said, because of the fact that Arsenal are so adamant on wanting this player, this is why I'm just convinced, like, okay, just go get him then. Just go get the player you want. Just show us what you want to do with the team and squad, really. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
And likelihood, I'm gonna hold you to that. What do you think out of 10?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Right. Let's move on to. Let's do Balogun. We didn't do Balogun, so let's just quickly do Balogun because
that's done. We don't have to do the feasibility police. So we can just talk about the player.
Yeah.
So Balogun has gone to Middlesbrough for 6 months. It looks like we're paying half or close to half of his wages. I'm not sure the exact amount, but I think we're paying quite a large sum of his wages. We're looking to he's going to a team that is contending for promotion, and for someone that is needing of time and needs game time and is too good for PL2, and I don't feel is right there. Like I would love to go to Spurs and just put Balogun up front and see how he does, because he is someone that I think is going to be a great talent. But the point is, he's going to a team where he knows that he is going to get time. He's going to get about it. He's going to be in a very physical league, and he's going to be on Chris Wilder, he's a decent coach. So
he's the best coach in the championship.
Yeah, so I think it's positives all around. And if you go into next year, and I feel like he will be the number 2. I don't really see if we do get Dusan, I think he's probably going to be the number 2 striker, which I'm quite happy with. I think he'd be good. Let's see. What do we think? Balogun to Middlesbrough.
All right, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very good one for him. Obviously, a similar system in the 3-5-2, with kind of different tweaks. He'll probably be the bigger striker this time, even though he'll be allowed to drop into the left. I think it's good for him that he's going this week, because they have an easy game before the very competitive game start. Because I think they have Reading, who just lost 7-0 or something, versus Fulham. So he has an easy game this week, and then after that, it's the game against the teams in the playoffs, the teams above them, where that's what they're buying him for, because they need their strikers to score, especially in the tighter games, or someone to be able to do something on their own in the tighter games where your systems cancel each other out, because their strikers, Middlesbrough strikers, have actually really struggled to score goals this season. And Chris Wilder obviously has known him for a long time. He calls him Flo, so that's how you know he's known.
He tried to get him back when he was at Sheffield prior.
Yeah, he tried to get him instead of Brewster. Instead of Brewster in 2020.
Yeah, he didn't want Ryan Brewster. He wanted Balogun. Yeah,
so obviously he's wanted him for a long time, and now I'm really happy it's the championship and a competitive league and a competitive time, because we saw with like Ballard, when you go through the playoffs and you potentially win it just does well for you and your name throughout the leagues. So if he can help Middlesbrough get the top 6, because right now I think they're 7th, so they need to get the top 6 and progress. That would just be good for him, as well as getting Middlesbrough promoted, because we saw what it did for Tammy with Aston Villa, doing very well, and getting your team promoted is big things for your name. So him performing in the champ, and then eventually, hopefully for him, the playoffs will just do big things for him and for Arsenal, because then he has a bigger bargaining chip, because right now he's done stuff just in an academy, but if he does stuff in the championship and potentially a Premier League team, then it's just good for him as well as us.
I mean, he's a phenomenal coach. Like, it's just amazing. He's gone from the 3-5-2 at Betsy to a 3-5-2 of Chris Wilder, and it's a very seamless transition. He knows the role. He's played it all season. He's killed it all season. So for me, it matches up in role. will he be a starter? 100% he'll be a starter. You know, Chris Wilder has chased him for almost 2 years now. You know, and not only that, Balogun and his agent are very bullish. You know, this guy's got proposals from everywhere. There was, I'm sure, conversations that if you're not going to give me game time, I'm not going to you. And, you know, I think he also got Conley as well, Chris Wilder from Brighton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're basically looking, Middlesbrough play the system that would have him starting. They have a coach who's very, very good, demanding. I think Balogun's the type of personality that needs somebody authoritative and kind of dictatorish. You know, he's somebody that can walk all over you, and he's got that ego. Chris Wilder won't do that. He's a hard one. You know, if you guys have seen those Aaron Ramsdale pods with, you know, Ben Foster, hey, check that out. Phenomenal pod. But, you know, he talked about Chris Wilder and kind of his management style, and he's a lot more, you know, run or else I'll make you run 10 laps kind of person. I think it'll be good too because I actually really rate Chris Wilder's kind of pressing structure as well. It's very good. And that's something that Balogun struggles with too. He isn't a presser, or he's not a willing presser. You know, he does need to be coached to do that a little bit more. And I just think it's a perfect match for the best coach in the championship, for a team that plays to his strengths. You know, they have wingbacks there. They need another striker. They need potency. And like Chris had said, I'm more of a fan of when I loan out strikers to loan them to championships chasing promotion than relegation. Why? Because in relegation, you have far few chances. I think every goal matters towards the end of the season, but personally for me, in title challenges or promotion, goal difference matters more. And that's because a lot of the teams will be on equal level points. But for me, top teams create more chances typically. So the biggest thing is I think he'll have a really good opportunity to show what he's got. And I think it'll be the making of him. Really, I do.
Right. Where do you want to go next? Should we go Arthur next?
I think Arthur's a fair one.
Yeah, Arthur. As you can tell, we're very, very excited about the Arthur links.
I think Z should go first. He's excited about Arthur.
He's excited. You go, Z. Go on, mate. Z. Come on,
I don't know if he's there. Hold on. Maybe we'll go to Chris first about it, and then we'll get Z's opinion.
Well, I haven't watched him much, so I don't have much to say on him. I asked people I asked other people, what do you think of Arthur?
I'm calling him Arthur because I already suck at pronunciation. I've already dug myself a hole.
I got some mixed reactions. Some people said he's like El Neni, just a bit better technically. Some people said he's Xavi 2.0. Some people said
just quickly.
Sorry, guys.
Demarzi has just reported that Juve are in for Loftus-Cheek, and they're willing to let us take Arthur off their hands.
There you go. So it's likely happening. But sorry, keep going, Chris. Well, then we'll get Z's opinion.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, I was hearing his name a lot more before Juve because at Barcelona he was probably a bit more, or probably a bit higher rated than he's at Juve. I just haven't watched him much, so I can't say much on him. If I said that, oh, we should sign him, or we shouldn't, I'd be lying. So yeah, like, my opinion on him isn't much. I've seen a bit of him, and it wasn't great. So, but I can't give like a proper opinion on him if I haven't watched him.
I think the next best bet, because I have watched him, I'm not as high. Maybe guys in the comments, you want the good news or the bad news? If you want good news, type in Z. If you want bad news, type in George, because I'm not as high on this as I think other people. But Curran, I don't know, maybe in the meantime,
look, guys, wait, hold on. I just want to know. Don't put me in the category where you're making me feel like I'm the most excited for a player like
No, but you like that profile, right?
I love that profile. I will always like that profile. Just purely because I'm a high position guy. I feel like a player that is press resistant and he's got high volume passing and he's in a locker. That's something that I really want. But for me, just bringing him in for the next 6 months, that's where it lies for me right now. I feel like he'll be a good addition to the team. It kind of replaces the need of El Neni because I'd rather have him in the team than Mohamed El Neni, and he can obviously come in in the second half because there's no way he's starting ahead of Xhaka or Partey in the team. So the fact that he can come in and close the games, and it will be really interesting to see. but it kind of also gives an insight as to what Arteta wants in the future, and it kind of like we've been linked with players like Rongier, Richie, Jorginho in the past, and it's very interesting that he likes those kind of players, but I don't know whether he sees them as the main starters within the team, or he just wants that kind of profile within the squad. So that's something, I've always been interested to see, really. This is why I wanted, I'm happy that someone like Arthur is coming in the club, and we'll see what he does.
Before you go, George, before you go, I'll just quickly go because I know you're gonna want to talk. So I'll go first. So with Arthur or Artur, my issue is how is he gonna fit? Because he's not in our left central midfield in that zone. We need someone that is very good at retaining the ball, someone that's very good at winning second balls and winning duels. He's never been a duel monster. He's never been someone that is able to suck up all the second balls or loose balls. And that's what you need in that left central midfield, and that's what we are paying Xhaka for at this moment in time. The other thing I'm a bit worried about is Xhaka's ability to find an entry pass into the final third. I haven't seen enough of Artur to say that he's going to be that level of production, that he's going to be able to produce those balls into the final third to a Tierney or a Martinelli or a Partey, etc., etc., etc. Lacazette, whoever, Saka. My issue with that is I just feel like good player, bad fit, and it does give me a Dennis Suarez, Kim Kallstrom, sort of Danny Ceballos kind of vibe to it. It just feels like we're looking to get a body in. We need a body, and we need someone there who can do that role. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's someone that if you want, in terms of being able to pass and move, like a lot of people I've heard calling him like I know there was a lot of this interview with Messi going around being like he reminds me of Xavi. Cool, I guess, but my thing is I just don't know how it's gonna work, and that's my major issue with it. Go on, George. I know you're gonna have to say a lot of things.
The one thing I'm going to say, I'll start positive before I hammer him. We needed a body. This is the one thing I totally agree with Zion. We needed a body for 6 months. When you're basically getting somebody in, you're asking yourself, do you want him over the next best choices? Now, I don't think that he actually replaces Granit Xhaka, and I don't think he replaces Mohamed Elneny. Because in how you look at our left center mid, that's not what Arthur is. In Brazil, he actually started as a right-sided pivot, and then when he moved to Barcelona, he became that left center mid that was a little bit higher, but he played that kind of, or he tried to play that kind of Toni Kroos role, where he was a little bit more of a progressive 8 that was more of a linker in a 3. He wasn't somebody that had final third entries, but he was somebody actually that attempted to be like Renato Sanchez. Like he's that type of midfielder that's a dribbling connector, but he isn't progressive into the final third. What he is for me is he's very Thiago light, not the same quality. Profile-wise, he's kind of like a Thiago. He's a head-down dribbler, very good dribbler. He's not press-resistant for me. I think he actually is a pressing target, and it's because he takes so long to make decisions on the passing. He's not vertical with his passing. He takes a long time to release the ball. It was a big frustration for all of Barca fans. If you were a fan of Barcelona when he was playing there, that was why he got out of the team. He wouldn't release the ball, and so he made very poor decisions that way. Physically, very poor stamina, awful in duels. But one of the good things that he can do is he can dribble, and he is a volume passer. So for me, I do like having that kind of profile in the squad. If I'm completing a squad, I want a high volume passer, but there were way better picks for me on the market. I don't think this points to a philosophy at all. In fact, it's a dry loan. It really doesn't give you much beyond saying that we're kind of looking for the cheapest option at this point, because what it really shows me is that we're focusing all the funds to Vlahovic. the biggest thing that I worry about with Arthur is a lot of these things that he's really bad at are really bad for the Prem. If you don't make quick decisions in midfield, you get hit. If you're not very good physically in your duels, you get owned. Like, these are serious things that you need in midfield. And for me, he fails in a lot of those metrics. Some of the nice things that he does on the ball in terms of dribbling and stuff is a nice thing to have, but I just can't. He's not El Neni because he doesn't have the same defensive awareness. And so when I'm trying to fit him in the squad, a lot of people have said, "Oh, will he go replace Xhaka?" He won't. He won't go to replace Xhaka because Xhaka, we use Xhaka right now to control the middle third and win second balls. Arthur doesn't do that remotely. So for me, he's actually a Lokonga replacement as opposed to an El Neni replacement. We've seen El Neni actually this year. He's been a lot higher. When El Neni's played, he's played the Xhaka role, right? So for me, those are the two backups. I actually think that Mikel doesn't believe in Lokonga long-term for these next little bit of games, and he wants somebody there to be the backup to Partey in that center role. That's what I think he's going to go back to. A lot of what he did back at Brazil as opposed to what he did at Barca. And, you're going to have somebody that can perform in that role. But again, he's just so poor defensively, so poor on the dribble, so poor in duels that I just really see him being overrun. And he's got neat, tidy, dribbling, very good tech. But, again, he's not press resistant. He's not like a Santi Cazorla who you can receive under pressure. And it's not because he's small. It's not because I'm a pace and power merchant. He seriously struggles in releasing the ball. It's one of his biggest things. He's very slow on that. So I struggle. The only reason I'm not having a meltdown is because it's a dry loan. So for me, you get an option. I don't really care who it is. It could be anybody. You get an option.
Yeah.
So that's all we needed.
I'd take George. I wouldn't even mind. Just bring him in and just get someone on the pitch that we could
like him.
You talking to me? You want me to play?
Yeah, you just take anyone. It doesn't matter. We just need a body there at this moment.
Body.
Yeah.
He was very highly rated before this, like whatever the fee was to Juve. That deal with
but that hype is mellowed out.
Oh gosh.
Jesus Christ.
That thing with Pjanic was weird.
And he hasn't played though, mate. Like a big thing.
He hasn't. There's no consistency at you.
He hasn't played even for Juve. So I'm trying to think. Like, even if you love the player, let's play devil's advocate. How in the world are you giving him the best opportunity to succeed with a dry loan, having not played this season? I'm talking this season. Generally, he hasn't played a lot, but this season particularly, Arthur Melo has not played, and. So for me, like Nashville, like I've said, Genie loan. Like I was the first one to say that.
This was December, guys. George was saying this.
It was the absolute thing to do. Now, look, if Genie said no, I'm sorry, people don't want to hear it. But for me, the other midfielder that wasn't getting played at Juve would have been a better hit for us on loan, and that's Ramsey. If you're looking for a Genie type of symmetry, that would have performed a lot more. For me, Arthur is very much a Lokonga. I think he's been disappointed in Lokonga. And I think that's the big reason he doesn't want him to start because he's not putting him with Xhaka. He's not putting him to step up into the middle third. So for me, I'm not a huge fan, but at the same token, we needed an option, right? Z, when you were talking about those kind of playmakers and you made those lists of, Richie, Roger, Arthur, I preferred Roger if I had to, gun to my head. He, for me, was the pick of that litter of our
I would
names.
too, yeah.
But in terms of us having an option, again, I think Arsenal just wanted a cheap option. And for that, I can't melt down for it, right? Like, it's a dry loan. It's not a commitment. I'll be very harsh if we're going to buy him, but we're not. It's a dry loan. So I think that's basically it. Like, I can't complain too much, right? But I do think that he's coming off a major surgery, but he also didn't play after that too, mate. Like, he came off a big surgery from the summer, but he even played poorly. And Allegri's never been a fan as well.
But it is Allegri, so anyway, we should talk about the other rumors. So just quickly, the Tielemans rumors. I can't just. It's annoying me. Is there any others that you guys want to talk about? But I think the Tielemans is the main one.
I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to the comments because for me, the Tielemans one is I don't look to the summer. I think you're in January. Let's focus on the January transfer window.
Let us know. Let us know. How about that? Because
Yeah.
for me, I it's something that I just don't want to. I'm not saying this London name. That was for the group chat. Do not make me say this London name. Fine. Youri can't catch, man. He's not someone that I want in our club. He's just everyone knows what his issue is. I've said it in plenty of group chats. Unless Jordan Rees is like, I can change him, I can do something with him. If he can do that, then there's this. He's so good. He's so good at like on the ball, but I worry about his positioning. I worry about his conditioning, and I worry I just don't feel like he's complete enough to be that guy next to Partey. There are better options out there. There are much better options out there.
I can name you 5 off the top of my head at this very moment in time. Bellingham, Gravenberch, Ibrahima Diallo, Yves Bissouma,
Rice,
Mare. There's a better one at Leicester. Rice, Bruno Guimaraes, who I don't even like, is better. Neves is better.
Say Kamara.
You can do Kamara. Does it stop?
It's a boring link.
How many names have been given there? So
it's a boring link. For me, it's just a boring link because look, everybody and their mums and dads and nans, they know we need a midfielder in the summer.
Yeah.
So obviously he is part of the Let's Play organization where he is the most credible player. So obviously the agent's going to be wanting to send him to the next best possible club. He tried to send Youri to Chelsea. Chelsea said no. They've got better plans. And look, he's come to Arsenal just down the road. And this is where I feel like we're kind of thinking just because an agent has come to London Coney to discuss a transfer, it means that we're the club interested. This is the narrative where I just feel like just use your brain, guys. Is he an Arteta kind of player? I think he's a last player. He's a last player on Arteta's list. Like 100%. But again, it just seems to me like it's an agent link. Like how the heck would Charles Watts know about that? Because it was fed by the agency. That's it. It's clear as day for me.
Well, for me, I'll be the devil's advocate. I think as a player, I want to talk about him as a player then, because on the ball, I think he's very good, and that's what people look at. Because off the ball, I think I'm
waiting for you to roundabout because
there's not much negative. There's not much positive you could say about him off the ball, but on the ball, I like his ball striking. I think he's got decent.
How many times did we target Youri in this game alone?
In Arsenal, a lot.
Alone.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't want him. But I'm gonna say the positives about him.
Can you say anything though? Like legitimately, I think this guy gets crazy height for long shots outside of the box. Yeah. I don't think he's a good enough metronome. He's not good enough in between the lines for me.
He's good
dribbling.
He's not good in wide spaces. Off the ball, he's awful in transition. He's slow. There's no intensity. He gets dragged out wide very easily and then beat on the dribble. He's poor 1v1 both ways. So off the ball, I don't think there's...
What's that thing on Twitter? Now I'm going to sound super old. You know that like challenge impossible? Like Youri Tielemans defending space. Challenge impossible.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's challenge and then brackets impossible.
It's fine. Whatever the hell.
I'm older than you guys. What are you talking about? How am I getting this and you're not? I'm older than you.
No, but yeah, like off the ball, he's so bad that I just don't even look at it. Even though he has some very positive things. Even if, say, you fix his fitness and you get him fit, like, will that make him a very intense player? Probably not. Will that make him learn how to cover spaces? Probably not. Will that improve his positioning? Probably not. Would that make him?
That has to be.
Would that make him a strong tackle? Would that make him strong tackler, strong indoors? Probably not. Like, obviously, you could.
There's a clip going around. Do you guys remember when Declan
Rice took the ball off him?
I posted about Youri, and someone put it in the comments. I can find it.
It was
Shall I find it?
quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen in
Shall I
my
find it?
life.
I have it on my profile.
No, it was Declan Rice to the wolf room. I just burst, and
Sure.
he was.
And
he
Declan
was
Rice isn't like, look, he's fast, but like,
no,
come
but
on, you can
Yuri
catch
was
up to him.
he was
Um,
jogging, not even jogging, but there was like,
No,
he looked.
You know how bad it
he
was? You guys ever see
no,
those kids
he
that
was-
they're really thirsty and they're running in the summer, but they run with like their head like this?
Yeah,
They
his
run-
head
Yeah,
was.
yeah. No. You
head
know what
yeah.
it is? He is that, the last like 50 to 100 or 150 meters of like a marathon. And you get those kids doing it, and he's got that face where you're just like, I need death. I don't need this anymore. I can't take this anymore. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not like, for me, he's not the signing I'd want, even though he has some good qualities.
I
But
don't think it's anywhere even near like an Arteta player, so that's why I don't even want to talk about it seriously. And plus, again, it's for the summer. The one thing I do want to say though, guys, is there's a ton of people in the last 18 months of their contract that are very interesting bargains. You look at Yves Bissouma, unless he's off to prison, Houssam Aouar, Youri Tielemans is another one. There's a lot of bargains to be had at this market, and there's also a lot of free transfers.
Off to prison. Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of free transfers there. So I think that there's a lot of interesting cheap deals that we might look to take advantage of. But that's all a summer consideration for me. Should we talk about Danilo, that other lad
let's
from
talk about
Brazil,
Danilo
quickly?
Yeah, I haven't seen him at all.
Because I'm not going to act like I've watched that league or I've really scouted him, but I've seen comps, so I have very basic, casual opinions.
You take it, because I haven't even watched comps. I didn't even think it was possible.
What about you, Z? Do you know?
Yeah, I just watched the comp, and
Yeah.
I don't know, he looks small to me. That's all I can remember.
I mean, and even little research, you can tell he was a winger turned midfielder.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Like, he's
Okay.
phenomenal on the ball, left-footed, really strong switch. I will say that. Like, even you can see that kind of in comps, but from a defensive awareness standpoint, I'm not too sure. For me, it seems like another throwaway link that we get, really. But I have not too much to add, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's a serious link. It doesn't seem like somebody that we'd be willing to do. Do you guys remember Papa Gay from like 2 winters ago, who's the French player? Now, he's somebody I kind of thought was, that's really interesting. That's a high-volume passer that's left-footed that I do like. I don't think that this guy is a high-volume passer, but he's super technical. So that's the only thing. He's left-footed, so... But I think the one thing is, and again, somebody that I haven't seen too much of, but Lino Sousa, we replaced my Thierry Small obsession with somebody. Our Thierry Small kind of obsession with somebody in the same vein, a 16-year-old that will definitely slot in and replace Joel Lopez, which I think was needed. Joel Lopez, as much as he's improved, and again, him and Tim Akinola were the most improved in Kevin Betsy's time right now, but I think Lino Sousa is going to be an excellent pickup because not only is he really, really good, but for me, he fixes the Joel Lopez problems. A lot of the reason that we had a 3-5-2 is because of Joel Lopez. He can't defend in a 4. So I think we have a chance to move him out. We have this guy to come in, and we kind of replace that youth left back that, for me, we were very, very bare in. There was only Lefcott, who was potentially a left back for the U18s, but Jeff Cott. And I don't think he's going to make it. So for me, we needed somebody there. I was very happy.
I don't even think one is enough. I think we need another one, because it was even under 23s where just like it's a bit.
Well, he's going to go straight into the U23.
He'll go into the 23s, but even at 18s, we're bare. Like I think another one needs to come through at some point, because I don't. Who have we got? You're right. It's just what's his face? What's his name? Help! What's his name? The left back from the 18s.
No, I'm not sure.
Jeff Cott.
Jeff Cott, thank you.
I don't hate Bruno Guimaraes. I just think that there's very clear weaknesses with Bruno, and I don't think people talk about them, and they're willing to ignore them. That's all.
I think that's a no-go, by the way. I think that's a
Sorry?
no. I think that's a no-go this window and next window. I think the links have obviously diminished, but also his kind of agency is kind of shunned away, where they don't want to. I don't know if it's an
Let's
interest from
put it this
Arsenal.
way:
They
if
moved
he
away.
doesn't come this window, mate, like,
No,
I
I
don't
don't
can we
think it
think
just
he's.
happens.
kill that? Can we
I don't
kill that
think he.
dream?
I think we should kill that dream. I don't think it's happening, and that's been like reported from closely from his agency. So
I'll tell you one thing, right? If you guys think George is the one that hates Bruno Guimaraes, you haven't seen my page, man. I cannot like, you know what it is? It's not that I hate him. It's just that I just think that people are being so disingenuous with the fact that the same people that like Bruno Guimaraes are the same guys that hate Xhaka, and I don't know how you make that sort of leap. Like I posted yesterday about okay, go and watch the Europa League game against Sparta Prague. Watch how a slow Adam Hložek takes him and just owns him. Literally just goes past him. He goes to ground too much. He's not as good defensively as people make him out to be. He's a very good progressive. He's a very very good progressive passer. That was I will give him. And he is good in a duel, but the fact is he commits to ground too often. And I can't have that. Not in this league. Not in this league. If he wants to go to
I just
Serie A,
get tired of people basically that we want to get rid of Granit Xhaka, and you're gonna talk about all the benefits on the ball, but not discuss the off the ball stuff.
yeah. Go and
Yeah,
turn
for
off
me,
your old man phone.
with what's his name, Bruno G. I think again, like he has a lot of off the ball issues as well. I think in transition he's very very poor. I think 1v1 defensively he's very very poor. Also not good positioning either. And I hate that. Or I really dislike that people just say, "Oh, Arteta helped Xhaka fix his positioning, and he could just do the same immediately for Bruno G." Or they were saying the same thing for Locatelli, but you can't just like even if you fix his positioning, he doesn't have the same physical tools that Xhaka has. He's not the same height. He's just not the same temperament. So
Mate, he's horrible
all the
aggressively
coaching isn't
stepping
the
to
same.
markers. He doesn't know when. He does it far too aggressively. He gets dribbled past insanely. He has poor awareness off the ball. And all of this gets exaggerated when he's moved up the pitch. Now, on the ball, he's phenomenal. On the ball, he's a very good tempo setter. He's very good mobility. He's got a good half turn, great switches. His best superpower is picking what kind of pass to do. He will absolutely surpass Xhaka in his final third entries. He will do those things. But you're going to lose every single middle third, second duel control that you're having. So for me, I don't like it at all. I think it's not the smart idea. There's much better options on the market that we can get for sure. And I think even devil's advocate, regardless of what we all may think subjectively, if we don't do Bruno Guimaraes in this window with the option to buy or an obligation to buy in the summer, and he was our proposed target, like Z, can you tell me like
not happening.
what's the logic? Like if we wanted him, why the hell would we not go for that kind of deal?
I think last summer, obviously, we were on him because we didn't really know the future of Locatelli. Like, was he going to come to Arsenal or not? And we didn't really know the future of Xhaka. Like, was he leaving us or not? So the next best possible kind of signing and most logical signing, because we had a previous relationship with where we wanted Bruno, was Bruno G. But look, now I feel like we've obviously evolved as a team, and we shouldn't sign a player that kind of has the same limitations as Xhaka. That's just stupid, right? So yeah, I wouldn't really do that.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I've already heard like as confirmed as possible that it's not going to happen this window, and probably next window we're probably moving on by then anyways. So it's as good as done, really.
Look, the big thing that I think I want to say is if we're going to go this much for Vlahovic at this thing, I think we go for a big center midfielder. I think we go big because I think we're going to get Champions League. And look, I don't know who the dream is. I don't want to put names in people's mouths, but we're talking, your Bellinghams, your Frankie de Jongs, yes, your Rice's level. That's the level I think we're looking at going. Whoever you want, everyone has their own opinions, but that's my opinion.
I was saying earlier. I think I was saying to you, George, earlier. I think how Liverpool made their Van Dijk signing there, the big thing. Yeah. That was their thing. This is what our statement is. It's a big sentiment mid signing to say, we are back, we are Arsenal. this is what you're going to be dealing with for the next couple of years.
Van Dijk was the big one, but the like icing on the cake was
Alisson
and Fabinho.
Mm-hmm.
Alisson and Fabinho is what really pushed him over the edge.
Yeah.
To win the league.
Let's put it this way, lads. If you're somebody who's a big fan of a deep line playmaker, that marquee is Frankie de Jong. If you're somebody who's dead set on being a 4-3-3 from now into the future and for all ages, Jude Bellingham. If you're somebody that you're not sure and you just want the best anchor in the world, it's Declan Rice. That's where I stand on it. But, I think right now there's still too many things up in the air about Champions League to really get involved in that center mid. I think fundamentally for Jan, let's just focus on what likely is going to happen. I think Fabrizio just tweeted. We talked about Pablo Mari a lot earlier, lads, in the stream. So happy, but maybe go check what we said back there. And I guess we also want Arthur Melo, but we've kind of covered that. But maybe I wanted to wrap up Arsenal, leave the last 20 minutes for general transfers because I know Christina wanted to talk a little bit about that stuff. But but last minute things. Look, all in all, let's just maybe round up. And you guys in the chat, if you have last minute Arsenal, spam it now. What do you guys think if we do Vlahovic, Arthur Melo? Give me that as your out of 10 January window.
8.5. I think 8.5 because it covers the bodies we need. It covers the bodies we need. You know what I'm saying 8.5 because I think that will get us Champions League football, and that's what we need. And I feel like it's a dry loan. There's no muddiness there, and Vlahovic is someone that you can depend on for 2 seasons, and it gives you the ability to move forward in terms of the Nelly transition doesn't have to be as urgent if you have a Vlahovic there. The only issue I have is Nelly, Balogun, Beereth, who is basically a very similar profile to Vlahovic, Tyrese. It's a lot of strikers, and we're very, very clogged. So the only thing I'm going to say is 8.5 just because of Champions League football. Because we need it, and we need that window. Because it's a crucial window.
What are you saying?
No, I still want another midfielder. Like I've always said that the January window, obviously it's good for filling in temporary gaps, but it should also aid us for the summer window where we don't need to do as much. This is why I feel like we should get in. Obviously, a striker comes in that kind of saves us from signing a marquee striker in the summer. But I also feel like we should get a centre midfield permanently for the team. So, for example, like one of the Kamaras or one of the Zacharias that are readily available. They've got 6 months left. Just sign one and add to the depth because I feel like this is where we kind of need to add as soon as possible because look, we're going to lose two to three midfielders in the next couple of months. So it's something really important. So so far as it stands, if we don't sign another midfielder aside from Arta, I'd say 6.5 out of 10.
Christina, mate?
You threw me off there.
He hates when I call him that. It boggles his mind. It gives a little bit of a
should we just start calling him Christina for good?
I'll leave. So we've Cedric out, Pablo Mari out, Ainsley out, Balogun on loan, Clark on loan, and then Vlahovic
and Maitland.
Arthur, 7, 8 out of 10. I think the outs carry it more than the ins. I prefer someone better than Arthur, if I'm being honest. So 7 out of 10. If it's just ins, 6. But with those outs, 7 out of 10.
I don't know. For me, the outs aren't even that. Like Balogun's amazing, but for me, a lot of them are dry loans. Like they're not permanent. Like if they were off the roster,
they're just out of the way, innit?
Yeah, like they're just out of the way. So for me, I'll be honest, lads, it's a 7 out of 10 window for me. I think Vlahovic is a very good. For me, it's probably like an 8 out of 10 on the scale. He has the potential to be a lot more, but he isn't quite that yet. But Arthur Melo is kind of like a 5, and then I think like the departures, I'm glad more of them are gone than I wanted, but that's kind of a 6. So I think for me in my mind that averages out to about a 7. in total.
My whole thing is what is the main issue we wanted to get through this January window, and it was securing top 4 for me. And if you're looking and saying you've got a backup midfielder that can just do a job if someone goes down, as well as getting a couple extra goals, maybe 8. I think the whole point of this window is to make sure we get to Champions League football, and that is
We do. I just think that there was way better efficiency of funds. Like I think
obviously that's a major issue, and that's why I can't go higher than that.
Because you did the minimum goal of what you're saying, Curran, but you did it in a very inefficient way.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, that's true.
It was very inefficient.
I think that's just a statement to the world where we're trying to say, look, we're not that.
A bit.
We're not a club that is broke anymore. And that's the most important thing, because it's been a narrative that we can't afford players and we can't do this and do that with our squad. But look,
I think making that statement before you get Champions League money, and then getting Champions League money is risky. This
is a good question, actually. I'll take this. This is a question. Do we think Leno stays?
For sure.
Yeah, it has to stay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, not even bad. Like, I think he's been decent since being dropped to the bench.
Not you saying this.
Why not?
Though he's been a good shot stopper. He was the best player at Forest.
Yeah. There's no mistakes since he's been dropped.
Is we basically have David De Gea as our backup keeper. It's basically what we have right now, because
they both don't come to claim.
Both don't come to claim. They're both their distribution is just cheeks. Like, I don't know if you saw the Aston Villa game, and he literally, De Gea had it dead ball free kick on the near side touchline to the camera, and he literally just kicks it into touch. Like, it's tears.
The Aston Villa game it wasn't good, but for Aston Villa, let's go into Aston Villa.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's transition. Lads in the chat, we're going to try to do a little quick overall of all the transfers, or roughly all the transfers.
Yeah.
Aston Villa. What do you guys think? I'll go with you because that was your idea, Chris.
Okay, so
I'll be nice. I said Chris, by the way.
I think Digne. So Coutinho, I haven't seen him since probably Bayern Munich in that left half space role that he played. It'll probably be that left half space role that he played Buendia in the other day. I think he'll do well with the Digne overlap. Surprisingly, I think it's a decent signing actually on loan. They're paying 65% of his wages, I think, which is crazy, and it's a lot of money. But he said he gave up the other 35% from Barca. He didn't want them to pay him, which is weird. But yeah, I think it's a good signing. Coutinho, Digne, 25 million for Digne, Coutinho on loan. Digne had an issue at Everton, and it's good that they took Digne away from Chelsea. But yeah, I think that to change their left-hand side, is
they
good.
Did what they should have done in the summer.
Yeah. They actually bought players that actually play on the left for the left. And it gives them a different dynamic at left back, because Target is that dual winner that will allow the left winger to
But he was a non-factor ahead of the ball.
And Digne makes it easier for the left winger to be inside, because there's someone taking up the left channel. And it allows the what's his name?
Coutinho.
McGinn to overlap on the other side and bring the right winger inside more, so there's like a narrow front three. It's very good for his tactics, I think.
And for Gerrard, like, it really fits what he's trying to do and how he implements. And especially if you guys watched how he played kind of back in Scotland, it was very much a case of the traditional 4-3-3, like one full back high, one center mid overlapping. Like, he was very much involved in that, and I think it was really smart that if you're getting a Coutinho who does have star quality, make no mistake about it. He does have star quality. The issue is consistency, but he has it. And if you're giving him a major overlapping option with Douglas Luiz, by the way, who's going to be a big ball winner surrounding him, and then McGinn, who, you did say would overlap, right, Chris? But also he is very industrious in general. Like, he's an all-action.
He's a good ball winner as well.
Yeah, like I call him a baby Barella. He's one of those unique do-it-all action. I really like John McGinn. I can't say it enough. I love that boy. But I think with Ollie Watkins as well, if you start to surround Coutinho with people that will do the running for him and give him options, he becomes a very dangerous option. And in
I
fact, you
feel
can
like
kind
he
of see
feels
that
like
he's doing.
early. Yeah, he feels like
He's doing a
early.
lot of the Liverpool light. You can really see the Sturridge Coutinho team in this.
Yes.
If you actually start to go back, Gerrard is replicating that dynamic here.
It's very good for him. Like with this overlap and the running, we saw it versus United. Like their overload and their running was causing United very big problems, and that's without a Coutinho, which is a threat. Regardless of how poor he is on form, as soon as he's within 30 yards, they have to get close to him, and that becomes an issue or a good thing for Gerrard to bring another threat rather than
I think it bumps them up to
late
mid-table
arrivals.
to like top
Yeah, it
10.
does.
I think it cracked like those two transfers. They're probably the most movable in the table right now.
Yeah,
Aston Villa. I think for me, outside of us, who by the way, if we do compete Vlahovic after all like the slander that we've done and all this, we've still had a very good window. Aston Villa's up there for having the best window in Jan so far. I don't know if there's too many other people for their team.
Newcastle.
Well, we don't know yet because they said no to
Newcastle aren't
Botman.
done yet.
There's an issue with Batshuayi. They haven't got Batshuayi, and there's an issue because he's got an injury. So I don't even know if they can.
And the Chris Wood thing is weird because Burnley have an issue with it, even though because they don't want anyone to pay the 20 mil fee.
Maybe that's a good transition. We'll talk about it because another one, Chris Wood and Kieran Trippier for
Very
Newcastle.
good. That's very good.
It's phenomenal. I don't understand why people are saying no to Chris Wood. This is a consistent number 9, and especially with Kieran Trippier, this will get them out of the relegation zone. And by partisan, they also weakened a direct rival to relegation in Burnley.
I don't know. I don't understand why Burnley would just. I don't feel like they fought it at all. They just thought. I think they just.
They had a 20 mil.
Do you know what my dream is? And
Wood
we
had a
probably
20
won't do it.
Wood
Is
had a
that
20
Newcastle
mil.
come in for Rob Holding?
Yeah.
They won't do it. I don't think. I think Chris Wood had a 20 mil fee embedded into his clause.
Yeah, it was a really
into his contract. It's like the Grealish thing where you have a clause in your contract, and if a team just wants to
Oh, okay.
pay,
See, I didn't know that.
That's Burnley's issue. They don't want it to be paid.
Yeah.
Newcastle
It's a release
pretty much paid
clause.
it. Newcastle nearly also got Digne as well, but Aston
Yeah, it's
Villa
a
beat
release
them to
clause
it, but
first.
what's his name? Trippier 12 million is Trippier 12 million 2.5 year deals is very good for Newcastle. It adds experience that they don't have. A winner now with Atletico that they just didn't have in their team, and he's a better right back.
I don't think they're done though. I don't
Much
think they're
better
done
right
either.
back
Because
than they
also,
did have.
guys,
And it's a
also
very-
another thing with the Chris Wood thing, though, just as an aside, Wilson's out for a
8
long
weeks.
time.
Yeah,
So they needed somebody, a body like that. And I
So,
honestly think that this business gets them out of the relegation zone. And
It
it's
does,
not what
because-
people think, but
But yeah, go on, Chris. About you were saying about Trippier.
yeah. Trippier is an overlapping right back that adds a threat down the right that they don't have, especially with this. Obviously, their threat mostly comes down the left with, say, Maximin and Wilson combining. It's now just adding more threats across the team that they need. They also added another set piece specialist with Trippier because before they just had John Shelvey, and it's very clear they have a plan with the names that have come up with Sven Botman, Badiashile, Diego Carlos, these very fast, robust, strong, and dual centre backs. They just need if you're going to be at the bottom, ball playing. They know ball playing is not an option yet, so get these dual specialists that can help you win duels, right? Because most of their games will be like that. I think it's very good plan because even when the takeover first happened, we did that pod and we said all the money is good, regardless. You can have all the money in the world with Everton, we've seen it, and consistently make these 30, 40 million pound poor signings, but it's looking like they've got a very good plan. And if they can get a midfielder in alongside John J. Shelvey, who's very talented actually, weirdly, with that much ball striking, he should never be a team like Newcastle. But if they can get in the pieces and the players that they're linked with, because there seems to be an issue with the bottom end, they can be a good team, I think.
I think what's important to acknowledge with Newcastle, I don't think they have a director of football yet. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring in experience and players that know the Premier League very well. And with coincidentally, both of the players, Trippier and Chris Wood, they're both
They know the league.
they know the
They
league.
do
They're
know
both
the league,
from
yeah.
Burnley, and so is the manager of Newcastle. He used to manage Burnley too. Like there is some kind of allegiance there where they all know the Premier League, and there's going to be some kind of just this connection that they need right now. They don't need to bring in these Diego Carloses and Botmans to help them stay in the league right now, because that could go very wrong. That could go very wrong. They need players that know how to operate within the Premier League, and I feel like that's the kind of signings they should be making for now. And then
But this,
probably in the summer they can get that director of football, which is important, before they make any signing, and then they should start making the signings to take them wherever they want to be.
for me, this Chris Wood one is very good because he gets 10 Premier League goals every
Easy.
season since like 17, 18. I think he got 14 at one point as well. So he gets goals every single season, and that's at Burnley with minimal chances. And at Newcastle, I think he'll probably get more chances and be in a more fluid system to create more for him rather than just lump it up top. I think the Chris Wood signing won't be as appreciated as maybe a Trippier or the centre back they bring in, because they really want one. And it's a sign of intent to do, like, to get this many links and to already have 2 deals basically done in the first 2 weeks of the window.
I mean, I'll just say this: if they stay up, right, there's so many options that you can do. You've seen today that players like Dybala haven't renewed, thinking about not renewing their contract with Juventus. He could be an option. There are players, a lot of players around the world now, they're entering the last 12 to 18 months of their contract, or even free contracts. Like someone like a Kamara could come in, someone like of that ilk. They could
Well, you
if they
think
can
about
get
it,
through
right? Like
this.
they get a serious. Say they manage to poach like Lewis Dunk from Brighton, Rob Holding, Kamara,
Tarkovsky or something like that.
or Tarkovsky.
Stop putting him in there.
Who?
You know who I'm saying. Stop putting him in there.
Rob?
Yeah.
I want him out, bro. I want him out.
Rob as a sign of endearment.
I will manifest that. You understand? I don't care if it makes sense or it doesn't. Balding needs to go out. Anyways, I think like when they come to the summer though, they're gonna have. I think they stay up. The point of it is, I think that maybe who has the best window. It's tough between them and Aston Villa. When I really think about it, because I think Aston Villa's signings will make them go up more levels than Newcastle, but Newcastle will get out of relegation, and that's huge. Like that monetary and that thing staying in the Premier League is probably bigger than going from 12th to 10th or 12th to 9th, just in standing. I think Aston Villa's signings, though, make them a far more dangerous team, whereas I think this does save Newcastle. So maybe from a narrative and, that kind of perspective.
The main thing I'm going to say is if the way that this window is going, if I am Southampton, I am worried, because I think Watford are looking good. I think Newcastle are going to be back.
I mean, Watford are still struggling for consistency, but for me, even we said in our previews, right, Chris, like they have the goal scoring consistency.
We've seen it though. With Dennis is the second highest goal contributor in the league. Like, it's crazy. Like Dennis has performed, especially against the big teams. That's where it surprised me how
it's Ranieri, man.
Apart from that, like they just don't defend well, so their games become basketball games, and they've tried to plug holes defensively, like getting rid of Rose, saying he's not going to play. So they got in like this 5'6" left back from Nice, Hassan Kamara. I haven't watched much of him, but he's 5'6", which doesn't bode well. He's very fast though, but like obviously they need something defensively, because offensively is not the issue. With their front three of King, Dennis, and Sarr, they're gonna cause anybody trouble, regardless of how good you are. They cause Liverpool, Chelsea, they even caused us trouble at times. So they just need something defensively, and I'm not sure they get it, but I don't think they're the ones that should worry. I think Southampton, even though they won the other day, they're the ones that need something a bit. because they're the ones that struggle for consistency. Like, there's only been 1 or 2 games this season, apart from the one the other day, that there's been more than 2 goals at home this season. Like, they're struggling.
All right.
Part of the thing, guys, is I think as we get in the next couple of weeks, we're going to equal a lot of the match day squads. So when you basically look at from the 18th or the 23rd of January till the 10th of Feb, not a lot of people, have games, at least for us, but there's going to be a lot of replays for people. And I think they're going to fit a lot of fixtures in there. So hopefully we get to see kind of matchup of equal fixtures, because right now it's pretty congested down there at the bottom. And I think if anybody leads too, it's worth a mention being scared, because with their injuries and just the way that Bielsa's almost samurai-like and making sure that he falls by his sword, it's crazy. He's the one that I worry about the most. Everton, are they going to replace Lucas Digne properly, who was an important player for them? I don't know. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be livid, like literally the definition of playing against us. I don't know how those owners are doing it, but
They got an issue. He had an issue with the club, so he got sold because of the issue of Benitez. The club was very weird.
As we pass the 2-hour mark, I do want to say, first of all, thank you for tuning in. But I want to do a best and worst window of the market so far, and I will go first. And we'll go around the panel. So the worst, I'll start with the worst. The worst is Spurs for me. The amount of crap they talked before about how they needed it. If you wanted top 4 Spurs, you needed a lot. You needed midfielders. You needed someone that can hold in midfield, because Skip and Hit and Winks, as good as they look right now, one of them go down, and you're stuck with Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and it just gets worse from then, and Ndombele, etc. You don't have the bodies, you don't have the fitness right now, and for a window that was of Conte standard, you needed a Conte window. It's just not worked. There's no money been spent. There's nothing even going out. There's something about Bergwijn going out to Ajax now that Ainsley's moved to. Neres has moved to Shakhtar Donetsk. It just seems. It seems like, what are we? 12 days into the window. 12 days into the window. Well, now 13 almost 13 because it's almost the next day. But nothing has happened.
Guys, we've gotten to the point of the stream that we're explaining time. That's how long that we're going for. It's
a ridiculous concept that you're going to challenge for top 4 and challenge for the FA Cup, which, by the way, Man City are livid after losing their Banker Cup in the Carabao. They are not losing this FA Cup. They're just not.
They did sell Ferran Torres. Was it 40 mil?
That's good business.
It's a good business from last year.
Good business.
How much they bought him for? Everton did I forgot to say it.
I'm cautious to do like best and worst because we are midway through the window.
Yeah, no. Obviously, so far.
Everton got Mikalenko.
I personally would have Aston Villa as the best so far. I think Digne and Coutinho raises the level of their team. I do think Newcastle have the most potential to take over that, but at this moment in time, I would say Villa.
I think the best for me is Villa and the worst is Chelsea.
Really?
Yeah.
Chelsea's the worst because they lost their fullback. They're bringing back Kennedy.
Their top scorers.
Yeah.
And they lost out on Digne, who they really wanted. So
They've been suffering.
They're the worst for me. But
this is a great comment.
Everton did get I left back George. Everton.
Amazing comment. Yeah, we did do that. Yeah.
Caught red-handed.
They did get at the start of the window. What's his name? Mikalenko for 20 mil. From from Shakhtar, I think. I left back, so he's their Digne replacement. I think obviously there's there's 20 days to go, 19 days to go in the window.
Yeah.
No, you get that extra 24 hours now if you bring in the papers.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So they've got a lot of teams have a lot of time.
And a lot of things, though, mate. I also think AFCON isn't done yet. Like, if teams come back early, let's say Egypt come back. For example, Liverpool may not be forced into something if they get links. And that's probably, I don't know, a great little segue for me. I don't know if people
Aston
want
has
to do
been incredible.
Do your best and worst so far, and then we'll talk about Liverpool.
for sure. Like I don't know, like Aston Villa so far probably because it's confirmed. Worst is Chelsea. Like I agree. Like they're getting Kennedy back. That's their solution.
Yeah.
They failed with the Emerson Palmieri. So yeah.
No, I think we need to do a special mention for United though, because I think they do need to belong in the worst as well, because obviously they've made no signings so far, and I've seen this tweet from Mark Goldbridge this morning, and I want to read it out because I feel like it's just the funniest tweet I've read. Zakaria averages the same passes per game as Fabinho with a better pass success rate. He's also a specialist central defensive mid. Any signing is a risk, but he's exactly what we need. What a buffoon!
It's sad that
Look.
even though you can rate someone here, but to bring up the stats and then essentially say he's better than Fabinho, it's just crazy.
Look. I'm going to be clear. I'm in the middle of looking at two central defensive midfielders in Ibrahima Diallo and Dennis Zakaria. I'm literally in the middle of it. And what I will say is I like both, but Zakaria has injury issues, and he always will have injury issues. He's had repeated injury issues. And Goldbridge isn't wrong about him. That's what they need. They need a defender that is very good in terms of duels, getting the ball.
With what he said, I think the way he said it is wrong, and they need someone better.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Basically, the way he was saying it is wrong.
Starter. They just need a guaranteed starter. But I think we've been here long enough that this Goldbridge, that Goldbridge tweet is not serious to bring up the stats versus Fabinho, who's been injured a lot. But yeah, I think we should just wrap it up with the Liverpool.
No, we'll quickly do Liverpool predictions and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, and and everybody in the comments, just because I'll be nice, if you were here for the transfer news, thank you so much. Just please make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. We'll definitely do another one of these. We'll do one when the window ends. Maybe if we've got time, we'll do another third way through another one of these spaces. If you guys like it, please make sure that you guys say please do more of these. If you guys have any suggestions, please do them. But we'll probably transition towards more of the Liverpool kind of preview. But
quickly,
I have talked about
Ibrahima
Diallo in the back and Mohamed Kamara from Salzburg for a while. Those two, but they're more depth signing. for me.
Same as Zakaria. Zakaria is a depth signing. And
it is a depth signing.
And I never want to hear Sander Berge ever again. Please, enough.
Pre-injury Sander Berge.
No, but we're not in a world where it's pre-injury Sander Berge. Okay, we're not in that world. Okay, so let's just talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about what we think is going to happen. Because
Trent and Alisson are back.
Yeah.
And Thiago. Isn't Thiago back?
Everybody is back, mate.
Everybody. Van Dijk, Alisson.
Everybody apart from the guys at AFCON.
The AFCON, right?
Fit, no more COVID. They were out full training today. Well, yeah, they were out full training today, so everybody's back. They're going to play a full team tomorrow, probably.
It's going to be brutal.
It was expected.
Do you know what I want? I want Arteta to say we can't play. We've got...
Man.
There's no chance he will never do that, and they wouldn't let him do that. It's too late.
Why? We got 10 false positives because it happens, guys. We just got to follow the protocols. What happens less than crazy. Once in a billion, it happens.
It was crazy, but I think obviously they now have a full team. We have Gabriel back. I'm not sure he plays him. He probably does play him actually. We have Gabriel back, and then we have Spurs on Sunday. I think we go full strength to an extent, and then aim to do well early, then change. I don't think we'll do particularly well at Anfield, especially because I want it to be.
I really hope
second
that
leg. Second leg.
Yeah, I really hope that he's thinking about Chelsea. I mean, not Chelsea. Who are they playing at the weekend? They're playing.
We're playing Spurs.
We're playing Spurs, but who are they playing? Because I know Chelsea are playing City, right?
Yeah, Chelsea's playing City.
But
Liverpool's playing Brentford.
No, they're not worried about nothing.
No, but the thing is,
It's a non-factor. They're gonna go strong.
Yeah,
I really, because the thing is, you know what he's like with this competition. He doesn't like this. at
Xhaka will
all.
be back, by the way, guys. But
for
just-
Liverpool.
yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
month.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be
Yeah,
because
he
he
went.
was
Well,
he was out with
Balogun
COVID.
went. Yeah, both of them went with COVID from last Tuesday. They've been available since last Tuesday. They're
Yeah.
not going to release the photos, but he's fine to play.
So we'll see. I mean, if it's,
It's,
No,
I
I'm not
still think we
confident.
lose. I'm not
I'm
confident.
not
at all.
confident. Are we gonna just see our predictions now?
Yeah, let's just say predictions because
I think we do. Look, I'll be honest. Look, I'm
2-1
very
Liverpool.
worried about the game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think I'm worried about Anfield. Period. Anfield for me is the worst stadium that we perform at, and
Mate.
even with a full strength team, I'm not even confident of us getting a draw for some reason. For some reason, we have a mental block against Liverpool. It's always a high scoring freaking game. It pisses me off. Even the ones that we got close with, that one time in the cup, it was like 4-4 and then went to penalties. Craziness with Liverpool. But I honestly just don't think that we've got the capacity. We don't have the facilities, guys.
Nope.
Really don't think so. So it's going to be
Scary,
going to
man.
go straight for the preview. Sorry, guys. Cover your ears. 3-1 for me
Liverpool.
to Liverpool. And the
Tommy
only
will be
reason
that
it's not
Sunday.
bigger is because they don't have their main guys, unfortunately.
For me, because they've got a shit front line 2-1. If they had Salah and Mane and Jota as that front three,
Jota's back.
yeah, but they don't have the other two. If they
I
had
know,
them,
Jota, the bastard's going to get 2 goals. And you know
if
what
they
we're going
had
to get?
them,
Harvey Elliott, the guy I hate. I don't know why. I've got a big hatred for Harvey Elliott. That bastard's going to come off the bench or start, and he's going to get a goal. I don't know why.
Nah, I'm not sure about that. I think Jota and then Origi still is playing for them right now because
He's
leave.
out. He's out.
Oh, because he wants to leave Liverpool because he's tired of being on the bench. I think we lose 2-1. Yeah, 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, Origi's injured. So is Minamino. But
See,
I'm going 2-2, man. Just gonna
2-2.
be, yeah. I'm.
Exciting.
Yeah, no,
because I think we smashed them at the Emirates.
I feel like it's one of those things because I've watched us play at Anfield last season and the season before, and like when it comes to these games, when Liverpool don't have their best front three, they don't obviously perform to the level that they do when they smash us in the league. So I feel like this is where we can take advantage. I'm just hoping that we play as strong as a team as possible. And when I mean possible, doesn't mean it has to be the proper first team, but at least as strong enough to actually go in and hurt Liverpool. This is what I mean. But hopefully, we can get a draw and then smack them at the Emirates because, I feel like Liverpool have done us dirty, man. I don't think nobody has spoken about the way they've added a game to our freaking congested, fixture list, and then they've made us, play home second. I don't know why they've done this to us, man.
You were about to say congestion charge, innit?
No, maybe I would have. I was thinking about it.
I'm gonna say 2-0. I don't think this is a game that we win. I don't think this is a game that. I just don't see this. If Van Dijk's back,
I like
who?
this comment from Tom
Van Dijk is
Ball. I think
crap,
Arteta and Klopp definitely scrap.
Yeah,
They don't like
100%.
each other.
100%. They just. No, but the thing is, Klopp used to like him, and then Arteta stood up to him, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, hang on a second. No, you're not doing this. Screw you. No."
I just bloody, I would love it if Mikel Arteta says we can't play. I would absolutely, just for the narrative, I think it would be probably the best shit house. Close our training center, all right? And then we'll reopen it on Saturday just for Spurs. We'll show that we'll be okay. It'll be a mad positive, false positive galore, 10 cases. I still can't believe people actually think that was real. That was cheating. It was just
It's clearly
factually
cheating.
There was no science-based evidence that made sense. Do you guys know what the false positive rate, just by the way, medically is for one of these tests?
No, for 9 or 10 to come out, it's less than 1 in a billion.
Mate, it's crazy. To have 3 false positives is like 1 in a million or 100 million. To have 5 is like over 1 in a billion. Give over. 10? It wasn't even like it was 4 or 3 or 5. 10? Come on. Yeah, but
Yeah,
would you guys like would a 1-goal loss be a good result? For me, that would be a phenomenal result.
Yeah, because we
Phenomenal
would
result.
smash them at the Emirates.
Yeah. I know. I genuinely think we could do something big at the Emirates. Like we could do a big 3-1 at the Emirates.
Poncho, it
but-
can't go penalties first leg.
No, it can't. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be it's not gonna be like what they've done to us in the league, like the 4-0 or 5-1 or something. I think it's gonna be less than that. But I think we're gonna be in with a shout for the second leg.
Think so. I don't know. Like I think I've always felt like we don't win the Carabao Cup, but I think this situation I would have been livid because I would have fancied our chances when we were going to face Liverpool. I'll be honest. With now, I just see the fact that we're depleted. They've cheated. It is what it is. But I think it's going to be like a big 3-1, and I just don't know if you can overturn more of a 2-goal deficit. If it was 1 goal, I could see what Chris is saying, but God, I would love for a draw. I'd love to be wrong.
I would love for a Barca versus Liverpool
The other way around.
remontada against them, like with like Smith Rowe scoring like the 4th of a dodgy corner or something. Like
I would love to beat them too with all the narrative, all the bullshit that they've done.
yeah,
Just shove a W down their face, just to be like, yeah, you guys cheated and you still couldn't win.
if no, but the thing is, I don't think we'll win at Anfield, but if we win at Anfield,
Here, let's put it this way. Let's just play hypothetical
loads.
because we're all. I don't want to end on such a poor note. Say you win against Anfield. Where does that rank in performances with the City performance?
It depends though. It depends on, you said performance.
Yeah, scrappy. I'm gonna call it scrappy. It's a scrappy 2-1 win. Chelsea where we have good pressing, but we pounce on an error. We shithouse a 1-0 or a 2-1.
It's probably, it might be first, you know. We haven't won it in years.
Because we haven't won there in years. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
man.
The performance is way better at City. I don't think we match it, period. But just because it's Anfield, it could be up there. But guys, I don't think Liverpool's ever been a low-scoring game. It's always been a high-scoring game. That's
but they don't
Thiago
have the guys,
Thiago
though.
isn't playing, so that's
no,
one
he's
thing.
back.
No, apparently I was just looking at the Liverpool website right now. So he's ruled out for injury, and so is Divock Origi. So
I knew Origi. Okay, so I thought Thiago was back.
no, he's not back.
So it's just Van Dijk, Allison.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Trent.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
gonna play anyway.
just Trent.
I like Van Dijk.
Just
that
Trent.
guy has not been good this season, man. He doesn't
Can you
engage.
imagine?
He
Can
doesn't
you
engage
imagine,
in
though,
goals
we
anymore.
blow them out of the park?
4-1.
After all the negative
Imagine we
freebies.
Spurs them at the Emirates. Like
Keep
just
it fair,
just
man.
a 3-0 blitz at halftime.
I think
and then
we're gonna lose, yeah, but if we win, it's gonna be like a 4-1. Arsenal.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Bro, Liverpool's always high scoring. I think it's going to be absolutely high scoring,
Do you-
period. Like, no matter what, whether it's a
I'll
loss
ask
or a
one
win,
thing.
it's going to be a high scoring game.
I'll ask you guys one thing. Do you think we make a signing before the second leg?
So
Yes.
next Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in, but we have it. Yeah, we definitely have David Ornstein, Arsenal have signed so-and-so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, because I'm telling you guys, it's been one hell of a 2 hours, and the viewers. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy that you guys have stuck with us for over 2 hours and watched us waffle on about transfers. But it's that time again. It is robot time. So take it away.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You hit the bell for notifications. You can find us on Twitter at BoP Footy. You can find me, of course, at GeorgeV_AFC. Chris, mate, where can they find you?
At PureCKK on Twitter.
There we go. And Z, mate, where can they find you?
_Z, man. Just follow me.
And Curran, mate, where can they find you?
And can find me at Curran BOP. And make sure you follow the one Willow as well. He's not here, but he's
And BOP 40. Thank you for getting BOP 40 to 550 followers now, I think.
Yeah, seriously, guys,
Jeez.
the growth's been massive. Like, I just want to say big thank you. You know, if you guys went to the store, you came back, you made dinner, thanks for sticking with us. I know it's a long one. You know, if you had a kid, I would have believed you. It's been a long one. But look, we'll do more of these, okay? Make sure you guys smash the like button, please. Share this around. If you guys want us to keep doing these, make sure you comment, do these more. You know, I see you, Tezzy, you like this stuff. So if everybody agrees, we'll try to do these a little bit more. But thank you so much for sticking with us. We're going to sign off. Hopefully this is with like a pretty decent result, but I'm hoping for some good transfer news to appease you transfer fiends out there. But yeah, we'll be back with kind of a review on Liverpool probably Friday. And then we've got the big one. Lads, last time to kind of promote this, but if you haven't seen a George Spurs preview, now that we have a lot of people watching, you will want to see a George.
What day?
preview.
Saturday, Friday?
We'll probably do that Saturday because I need my beauty
yeah.
sleep before I eat. And when I talk about eat, I mean I eat Spurs. So when we do this, a Spurs preview is something you don't want to miss. So much blessing. Thank you again. Happy New Year. Please share it around, and we will see you probably on Friday when we do a Liverpool review.
Just the last thing before we go. We are like, it's almost 75 away from 1K, and it's so insane. And the thing is, me, George, and CK, and Z, and Willow when he's here, we've got so much members content coming. We've got I think me and George have discussed doing a show. I think CK has got some issues going on. So really, if just hang on, try and get your mates in on it. 75 away, and then we've got some real fire content coming through, some real great tactical stuff, some real good team analysis, just more of football stuff than just Arsenal. So please like, comment, subscribe, and try and hit that notification bell if you can.
And of course, you've got a robot TikTok to look forward to when we hit that 1K.
Oh,
I promised it. I will appease the masses, but make sure
amazing.
you drop some comments about what I should do. Anyways, lads, hopefully we get a good result tomorrow, and we'll see you probably on Friday. So peace, lads. Thanks again.
Bye.
Peace.